Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. It's the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction. This season, quit sliding sideways on the ice and losing races to your buddies. A Fast Track stud kit will help you with improved braking and give you the arm-ripping acceleration you crave. I put over 3,000 clicks last season on my Renegade 850, and I'll tell you, these studs exceeded my expectations. Not one broken stud, my eye-to wheels still look like new, and they hooked up like I was on rails in the twisties, inspiring confidence every ride. Fast Track Top Gun kits are the highest rated stud kit at 4.9 stars with over 230 reviews. The studs are heat treated stainless so they are strong and they don't rust. The kit is lighter, easier on the track, and has a lifetime warranty against breaking. Each kit comes with a track specific template for complete balance with over double the scratch lines from stock templates. All listeners when purchasing a stud kit can get a free install kit, a $30 value. Visit fasttrack.co, add both products to the cart, and use the coupon code SNOW at the checkout. That's fasttrac.co. Tired of dealing with worn out carbides and scratchers that just won't scratch your itch? You deserve better. It's time to upgrade your ride with QUALIPIECES. QUALIPIECES is the leader in specialized snowmobile accessories, bringing you innovative products that solve the everyday problems we all face on the trails. From their durable, long-lasting carbides, Trailblazer ice scratchers, to their ingenious roller ski, QUALIPIECES has redefined quality and performance. Have a taste of their specialized carbides at QUALIPIECES.com and take your snowmobile to the next level.
What happened there?
Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Track. There we go. How you doing?
That was painful.
It was. There you go.
I'm just joking.
Do you want to move them?
And it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good thing we got rid of Phil. That's one way to get rid of him, right?
Oh, that's mean.
That's all right. We'll keep it going while he's coming in. So
I was gonna say he'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. We
He's
have Al Thomson to my right here on your screen, and then we've got Duane down below. And look who the cat dragged in. We got Phil Molto.
There he is.
How's everyone tonight?
Awesome.
That's
Great. Thanks for asking.
Hey,
How about yourselves?
Oh, very well. I appreciate you guys joining. And we had I had some technical difficulties last week, and I was in the middle of rebuilding my entire platform that I use, and I had it all set up yesterday, and then I went to do some testing. Well, we tested it yesterday. It worked great. And then today, as I was working on my computer, things started going downhill fast. And then when I did my initial test with the crew that you see on screen here, it was quite bad. So I know what the problem is. I just didn't have time to fix it before the show. So we're gonna keep trying this, and hopefully by the end of the season we'll get it right, and season 7 will be even better. So we're on screen with Ontario Oval Snowmobile Racers. Tell us, Al, how did this all start up? Oh, I've muted him. Al, you told me to mute.
That's one way to get him
to do that.
You got to tell us where that button is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Don't show Al where mine is.
They didn't want you to know.
Good?
Phil, they didn't want you to know because they were asking how to mute you.
So back in 2014, Carl Blight went to Brighton Speedway. They were just flooding a track and just having a kind of a fun little thing, not much of a competitive race thing. And he got bit by the bug, and then he started looking around. There wasn't a whole lot open for vintage racers. And then a couple years later, there was 4 people that got involved. Carl Blight, Keith Smith, Mark Rioche, and Richard Greenfield. In 2016, they formed a not-for-profit group. And then in 2017, that was when our first actual race was at the Minden Fairgrounds. And if you click to that picture, is kind of a pile of old single-cylinder sleds. That was our original race. So we had a oh.
Hold on, sorry, I think I went past it. Oops.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's the pile up
Here?
right there.
That
That's
one there.
Yeah, there you go.
So it didn't start well, but from there on, that was actually one of our biggest classes. It's single cylinder. Most of them run 292 Yamahas. And it's been growing since. Now people are growing out of that and starting to get into other classes, which we can also discuss as well.
Very
from
cool.
there, we started going to different resorts. We've been to Bayview Wildwood, Isaiah Tubbs, and Pinestone is one that's really helped us out. We've grown from that time. Now we've had a couple of years off with COVID. Weather is always something because most of our races are on lakes. So we're kind of, the weather really plays havoc with us sometimes. But last year up in Cochrane, we had our most ever racers out, and our membership is steadily growing. And last year was our largest year for members as well. So if you can flick through some of the pages, we can explain some of the classes that we have.
Pretty cool.
And
Trike Kid 84 says he heard the 282 Yamaha was the most powerful single. Way better than my 335 Rotax, which is more of a work machine.
Well, I'll put it this way. 292s, those ones seem to dominate that class. Like there's been a few TNTs out that were 295s. The Yamaha just seems to have the most power. That hurts to say, but and actually in the stock classes, the fan cooleds, they seem to dominate every class. The 340 enticers, the 440 enticers, and the SSs. As far as your 335 Olympic, I couldn't tell you because I haven't seen any of those out there.
I was going to comment on this photo here that looks like our group ride for MUDBRATS.
Yeah, it could be. I think I've had a few people run over the back of me.
Yeah, that's right.
On rides too.
Yeah, it's Uncle Buck's laying down in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah. Now the reason for that, it was kind of first attempt for building a track too, and between 3 and 4 there was an ugly bend in it, and everybody was told about it, but nobody paid attention because all they wanted to do was lay on the throttle and
Hope for the best.
go for it. So that's what ends up happening.
Well,
Yeah,
that's always a mistake with racers. Tell them to take it easy in turn 3. Yeah, that's that. Duane, has that ever happened? It's like, anybody lets up on turn 3 and I'm passing. That's
Strategy.
Go to some of the vintage ones down north towards the end. Keep going. We got them right in here. Here, is this the shot you wanted to see, Al?
Well, now we're we're going to go into the history on that. That's a vintage Arctic Cat King Cat. That's back with the snow tracks back in the early 70s.
I was going to say that looked like Phil Molto last weekend.
that looks like me loading a sled onto a trailer.
No, there's no car in front of it that you're sitting on top of.
A little too much throttle.
Now, if you go to that second photo when we were back at the top there, right after the singles.
Yep.
That was
This one here?
right there, that one there. That's another one of our super stock classes. In that, you've got 3 different classes in there. You've got the liquid 440 SRX. Behind him, there's a GPX 440. And then you got they're all Yamahas. And then you got 2 Yamaha SS 440s. And then you got a trail twister on the back left there, which would be a 440 as well. So that's one of our super stock classes. The fans have their own class, but they can also move up to the free air liquid classes. And that's for the 340s and the 440s.
Right on. Was there a limit back in the day of how many cc's you could run?
Everything's broken into classes. And like back in the early 70s, that's when things really started moving. There was a lot more manufacturers, and they would go anywhere from 250 up to, well, for stocks, it would mainly go up to 440. And as far as ours, for our vintage classes, it's from 85 and older is what you have to race these classes.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. Now this is a super mod class. The Yamaha there, that is a 440 GPX. That's driven by Carl Light. He was the original founder of the OSOR with the other 3 gentlemen. And the guy that's got his suspension maybe a little soft in the rear end, lifting the skis up, that's Duane up there on his 440 Snowjet.
Right on.
And it has a Yamaha motor in it as well.
That's wicked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The what, like when you're talking about these old sleds, like that's a 77, I'm taking it, that Yamaha. Is that kind of in the right zone?
Yamaha, I think those are 75s. 75s.
And
Like,
that's a 75 as well.
What can you do performance wise on those, Duane?
Now those are super mods, so you can there is some rules, but you can do quite a bit to them.
It's
like,
pretty
I don't know
broad.
what Duane's done with his, but it's a very quick sled as well.
So
Duane,
you're allowed,
go ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the super modified is just what it states. It's super modified. So, I mean, you have to run that sled with the motor it was born with. And as Al said, it has to be 84 and older. But with those sleds, the skis are hacked down. They're like 16-inch leaves. Like they're a custom race ski, but they're absolutely not anywhere near what they were born with. So
right.
The skis are cut down. You can run different clutching, porting. You can punch the motor out for a larger displacement too. There's parameters that you have to run with, but it's pretty broad. It's fair for sure, and they run real well.
Right on.
So
that Snowjet, is that the one you had at Toronto show?
It is.
Yeah.
No.
That is quite the machine. I wish I had pictures underneath the hood of that thing, because that is a dynamite sled. Just because it says Snowjet on the side, it's not a Snowjet inside.
No, the super mods, they're changed quite a bit from what they were originally. Like guys will take and they try to get their center of gravity down. They'll lay their chain cases forward so it's a little lower. The motors, it's surprising the amount of horsepower they're developing now compared to what they did then. Like before, it was liquid cools were the ones that everybody wanted to develop the horsepower. Now the free airs are pretty much getting the same horsepower out of them as what the liquids are, and you've got a lighter sled, so it's they're getting some ridiculous speeds out of them.
Yeah. Do you know this Trike Kid 84? He says it has to be period correct. This is actually ATV TV.
Yeah, this is
all terrain TV. Yeah. Has to be period correct. Tune pipe, higher compressor, better port timing, carb mods, tunable clutches, Comet, wall skis and lightweight track. Is that about right?
That's all.
Yeah,
I'm
the period correct. Like for say, well, the Snowjet and the Yamaha, as far as the free air motors, they're pretty well has to be. But there are some like when as we go further, we'll see some of the things that people are doing to develop different horsepower. They still
But brand specific is right. That is correct.
yeah, it still has to be like
What it was born
Snowjet
with.
came with the Yamaha motors, so the Skidoo, anytime you're racing a Skidoo, would have to have a Rotax motor. It might be when you get into the super mod, some guys have got like a 73 hood on it, but they'll have maybe 79 cylinders in it that have been totally reworked and rebuilt. And like when we see Sabrina, which will be right at the end, Howard Gifford did her machine up, and it is just an incredible work of art. And it's done to specs, but it's all homemade. Like the whole thing has been totally made by hand.
So that's where you run into the clones, which my players.
Yeah. Well,
You guys seen that at the show?
Yeah, that's right. That was gorgeous. Billet engine block or heads throwing sparks at?
They
With
have
the
been
super
doing the
modified for
heads.
sure, yeah.
The heads have been being made out of billets that they're working them, but they're trying to get away from that too. But there are still some that are out there.
Yeah, and I got Phil's text. It says about the that comment about running the same engine as the manufacturer that stops Polaris guys from putting a good do engine in their machine.
That's kind of like an oxymoron, a good.
If I can jump in here because I can't stay quiet for longer than 10 seconds.
Where's that mute button?
Well, it's interesting in this brief period of time what we just covered. When you look at that old picture of that that King Cat up on the snowbanks, the difference in snowball racing from 70, 71 to 73 was exponential changes. The sleds from the bogies to sliders, the engine size. You're running 800cc engines. A few years earlier, 340s, 440s had nowhere near the horsepower of what was suddenly available. And we shuttle now to the future. And people who work on these sleds, like the Giffords, the Manns, and everybody else, they'll tell you, if we knew now, we could have taken back then. It's the same sleds, the same motors, but the way we could tweak so many things out of them, it's vintage snowmobiles, but we've learned so much. And it's also interesting. Somebody mentioned the word clone. We do get people building clones to come out and race. But there'll also be times at the track I'll look over at somebody's sled and it's got the VIN numbers. Is that an original sled? Oh yeah, we had somebody running an Alouette Snow Pro last year on the track, and it was the real deal. I'm like, I think I know, and I knew exactly where it came from. So it's interesting how we have this transition of what's a clone, what's stock, what can you run in there, what's stock for that period, there's a whole bunch of areas that the racers of the classes when Al goes through them and dissects like what are we allowing in these classes, what's stock for that era, what's stock for that model and stuff. And again, getting back to the horsepower difference, I did race single cylinders bogies. And man, a 335 against a 292, they were gone, which is great because I could just sit back in my comfortable 10th position and just wave at the fans, But yeah, it's amazing the power of some of those motors out of the crate and what people have found power wise over the years is just astounding.
Oh yeah, that kind of led to answer my question, Phil, that I asked earlier. Like, how much can you do to these things? I didn't mean like as far as the possibilities, but back in the 70s, there couldn't have been a lot of performance parts available. So you were doing a lot of bodge.
It's great you mentioned that because there's all these you go back in the old magazines and I have friends like, from Fergus, like Hal Armstrong, the engineers, they've got all the magazines, the crankcase stuffers, the porting people did. I mean, how those pistons stayed inside those sleeves is beyond me because there was just nothing left. Like they just kept grinding and porting and waiting and balancing, doing stuff to the clutches and, running a cat clutch, running a Polaris clutch. They were doing everything to find power. And it was, it was scary if you didn't have the right clutch guard on, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you want to go through the classes then, Al, and talk about that, or do you want to go more into the history photos?
No, we can go through the classes like what we're running now.
Go right up to the
and
top.
If you go to our
like back to the start.
Yeah, back to
we
the
have
start.
a web page, and
This is
the
okay,
address is osorracing.com. It'll have all the rundown of all the classes, all the rules will be on it. But what we do is we start off with the stock, super stocks, which are basically fan-cooled motors. They can have internal modifications to them. The pistons can be oversized by, I think it's up to 60 thou over, just because rebuilding motors now, when cylinders get scored because they're 85 and older, stuff's starting to get a little more scarce. Exhaust system has to be the same. We don't allow cleated tracks anymore, so you can change suspension and tracks to get with a rubber track on it. From there, you go to liquid and free air stock, which is pretty much the same thing. You can do whatever you want internally to it, but the rest of the sled has to stay basically stock. You can use different skis, ski spreaders up to 3 inches, handlebars, a lot have changed, seats, and that's about it for it. When you get into mod stock, there's a few more things you can do, like you can change the exhaust on it, then change carburation.
20-inch
there
leaf.
you get in, pardon me?
20-inch leaf, right? Leaf spring.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same on the stock. And all these have to have at least 2 inches of travel too. Then you get to the super mod, which you still have to stay with, like a Skidoo has to use all Skidoo parts, but you get people totally changing. You're allowed to lay your chain cases down like I spoke. The basic machine has to be what was readily available at the time. So when we go into Sabrina's sled later, you'll see that was a 74 Snow Pro sled by Skidoo, but Howard got hold of a sled and got all the measurements. So everything has to be perfectly correct anytime you're building a clone. There's quite a few chassis builders out there now, lots of motor builders, a few pipe builders. So guys are pretty well manufacturing their own sleds now by grabbing parts from everywhere. After that, there is a picture in there that shows an outlaw sled, which is kind of like an outlaw car, except
like that one. Oh,
oh,
there we go.
That's not there. That one right there.
There we go.
Oh, that one. Now you've got the track, which is on the outside, and where the driver sits, he's actually sitting on a third ski, and those are totally built. They have their own rules. They use a 600cc liquid cooled motor, fully modified, and those, they kind of call them the old guys sleds because a lot of the guys like to use the cage. They're a little more comfortable to drive, and you don't have to fight with them quite so much. And it's a popular class at the races. Like guys that are traditional snowmobilers don't really like them, but the fans really love them when they go. And these guys, instead of trying to stick tight in the corners, they like to drift around the corners. And sometimes it can be a little tough on the tracks.
So is the engine in front of the guy, or is it on the track side beside it?
Well, it's right over on the track side. If you can see it, it's on the right-hand side of the motor.
Yeah, so it's beside the cab where he's sitting. So all the weight's on the right-hand side. The tracks, I was going to ask you, are they actually banked curves or are they flat?
Pretty much flat. Like they're we'll get into this too when there's a couple other pictures that I have there, and it was a couple of drivers that kind of changed the way racing was done from the high bank curves to the flat track, going around the inside of the corners instead of going around the outside and using the bank to kind of keep your speed up. So
wow. Now with this outlaw class, are they allowed to run any engine they want in it, or are there still limitations on that?
Yeah. Nope, any as long as it's 600 cc's.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
I hate to tell you this, most of them run Polaris engines, but
Is that right? Are they? You think they'd put a Polaris 650 in it or something like that, or is that really off the limit?
yeah, that's off the limit. It has to be peaked out at 600 cc's.
Okay, yeah.
Someone needs to stick a 600R E-Tech in one of these, eh?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt they use the E-Tech, do they, or is there a limit on the year?
Yeah, what's the newest engine you can run?
That unfortunately I can't tell you right now because I'm not 100% sure on the age on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Cool.
I don't think I've seen any E-Techs. There's been a couple of Arctic Cats and mainly 600 Polarises.
One interesting thing about the Outlaws, it's the only class we have that has a rolling start like Outlaw, race cars. They're the only sleds that have a rolling start for the start the race.
All right on.
What are the other classes? Are the other classes Le Mans start? Or are they just standing start?
Standing starts. Everything.
And then BAM Custom says, is it 600 twins or triples you're allowed to run in these things?
I don't know if the triples are allowed or not. I'm sorry about that. But the only ones I've ever seen are the twins.
You need quite a wider.
It could be because of just a size restriction too.
Allowance.
For the width.
A lot wider of a machine.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Do you want to jump through some other stuff here? Like
yeah, the next class, well, this is our junior class. I can go on a bit about the juniors now. We have several classes for them. He's driving a 100 on there. He's 4 years old, and I'm damned if I can remember his first name. It's Jamie Bound's son, and he would be the youngest at 4 years old. We've had gentlemen last year out, and when we were up in Cochrane, was 81 years old out racing. So quite the spectrum. But the juniors have like the 120. We have the 200s, and then there's another class that's called the 206 120, and they put a 206 Briggs motor into the 120, and it gets them a little more power. Then we step up to the F340, which is a Polaris Indy Light that they've chopped down and made into a race sled. They are starting to run the F500s for the oldest, older juniors. Junior age goes from 4 till 17, and we are looking at getting a couple more classes this year for them, just so they can get more into the vintage sleds like a 250 and a 340 class, so they can get used to running leaves. So that we're just trying to build up, so when all the old people slowly start getting into the sport, we got people coming up to fill in their places. So
I'm still respecting the heritage of running leaf spring sleds, because there might be a point when it's all A-arm and trailing arm sleds, right?
Yeah. And then one of our other classes is the F500 class. We have what's called a sport, semi-pro and a pro, and all the difference in them is just a sport is mainly for drivers that are just new driving those sleds. The pro and semi-pro can't come down, and if you're driving sport, you can move up to semi-pro. Those are all based on a Polaris Indy, a 400 or a 500 from 89 to 92.
Is that what we're looking at here?
No, this sled here, this is a champ sled, and that is one that's all custom built, and they're an incredible sled. Like if you can get out to the Bonjour Cup this year, it's going to be their 50th anniversary. But these things are all, there's I think only about 3 or 4 manufacturers that make them. Like they're all custom. Everything is done right to the nines on them. And they use a 440 stock liquid cooled engine. Polaris, Skidoo, or Arctic Cat are the 3 that I've seen in them. And they've got tight rules, but they are pretty incredible how quick they can get up to speed. I think they're 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. They're just rockets coming off the line. and they can hold the corners pretty much at a very high rate of speed
on rails.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
And it's
Duane and I had a conversation about the hoods at the Toronto show, because even like you take a hood, like I don't know if this is a snow jet or what machine
Look at
we're
the
at.
Yamaha, the
It
one
was
that has
a
the carbon
Yamaha.
clutches on it.
And it was like, well, where do you get a hood like that? And they're all sent out and hand laid and handmade, right?
Yeah, there's a few people that make the race hoods, and they're way lighter than what they used to be. So,
Very cool.
That's cool. That's like a Rev XS. I haven't seen a Rev XS like that.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Now this one here, that's an F500 limited fan class. So now this one was one that we kind of came up with for ourselves. Most of our rules are based on IRS, International Snowmobile Racing, kind of a sanctioning body that does a lot to set your rules and your safety rules as well. But on this class, you can use like a Polaris Trail Indy. You can use Skidoo, the Formula SLs, the MXZs, Arctic Cat. I think they were using Jags and there's one, Yamaha Phaser. There's one back there with the
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see the big windshield on it. Yeah.
Bender edition.
yeah.
Bender edition, right on. That'd be a rocket.
Yeah, so that's a class that we've only had for like 3 years, but it's probably our fastest growing class right now.
That's
And a lot
wild.
of people.
Is that more of like
a?
you can just bring like basically just a 500cc like right off the trail and just kind of do minor mods to it, or are they still doing some pretty crazy stuff to those ones?
We're trying to keep it as close to being stock as possible. Like your engine has to be stock. You're just mainly lowering it down, and you can do a bit to stiffen it up to like improve it that way, but not improve it much as far as the sled itself is.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep them what it's looking like, so that it's kind of a low entry into the independent racing. And they go up to 97s you can get to be in that class.
And looks could be a little deceiving on those sleds, because as you're saying, like, can you just like basically take a trail sled and race it? But Alan Duane can tell you how much work goes into the special handlebars that are bent for it, safety stuff like TRAC enclosure so no cleats go through the back, safety lights that are on all the time. There's a whole bunch of safety stuff that has to go onto the sled too to make it compatible, because that as they on the International Snowmobile Racing has specifics of stuff that has to happen to a sled before it go on the track. And Al is the tech guy, so he makes sure before they even go for a hot lap that they've got everything in place on the sleds.
Do you have to run like a fire extinguisher on board, or what kind of things? Like you mentioned about the safety light, right? What other things like that are we?
No fire extinguishers. You have to have a tether. You have to have your back end enclosed. Like every year they come up with a few more rules just to try and make things safer, and so nobody can get in to the back or your box in for the back. You can't have it more than 2.5 inches away from your track. Safety lights. So you've got a red light that's going to be on at the tailgate, and it doesn't run off the motor. You have to have a separate battery for it. This year we've added, you have to have an 8-inch strip light on the inside panel of the chassis at the back corner. So if your rear end slides out, you've still got the red light that's there. Your skis have to have a certain amount of hoop on it, tether switch, your safety equipment. This year we've got a yellow light has to be installed on the back of the helmet. The helmets, every 5 years they upgrade the helmets, so you've got to stay up to date on that. We have now a brand name who's also been a sponsor with us, Tech Vest, or another manufacturer of it. This year we've included to do shoulder coverage down, partially down the arms. You have to have shin pads. You're supposed to have above the ankle leather boots. What else do we check for? Just the integrity of the machine. We have a complete checklist that we do at the start of every race on the weekend. Your snow flap has to come down when you're sitting on the sled. The snow flap has to come down and touch the ground. So there are quite a few safety things that you have to go through.
Is that on your website as well? If someone's interested in getting involved in racing, they can go on there and see what their guidelines are, or they reach out to one of you guys to get that info?
Usually reach out to one of us. I'm redoing a new checklist this year, and that will be on our website. Yeah.
Now, is this more just for overall safety, or has there been injuries and accidents in the past, or is it an insurance thing?
It's more for safety. There have been accidents, lots of accidents. Like even last year, for instance, if you can see behind me, one of our sponsors, Cat Shack, the machine went up on its side, and he hit or I guess he fell into his own track that was going around, and ended up with some stitches into his belly. But he's very thankful that he had the tech vest on, because it did save him from a lot more than it could have caused. Another one of our racers was down in the States, and he's one of our board members, and his arm ended up going in behind up inside the track, and he ended up getting quite a few stitches in his arm. Hence why they've said now you've got to have your back end enclosed so close to the track, so that you just try every year to stop things from happening. And when you're going in,
maintenance.
What's that? Sorry?
Preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's covering your ass kind of thing is the term.
Yeah, we try not to do that. We don't look at it as a liability thing.
Yeah.
We look at it as trying to keep people safe.
Now,
it's also, if I may, it's also lessons learned. If you look back at other forms of racing, like MotoGP, Formula One is a perfect example. That if you look at old historical pictures, people are standing on steel guardrails right beside the track. If the driver slid, they'd hit the guardrail, like it was insane. Now you've got these massive gravel runoffs, and that's all because they've learned from the past of what to do safely. And in our sport, you look at those old snowbank tracks. People flew off the tracks. Like there was no safety barriers. There was no way to keep the sleds. Then when they went to ice racing, it was literally, I remember talking to some of the guys who raced it. It was plywood boards right around the whole perimeter, and ice. It was like a Zamboni surface. So if you came off, you hit so at some point, so I was like, how about some straw bales or hay bales? And so that's a good idea. So it's constantly improved. Again, with lighting, like you couldn't see the sled in front once there was a snow. So the lights have to be on all the time. Lights on the helmets. You look at some of the old safety vests, there was just a piece of plastic. I mean, I could have made something better in shop class, and I'm pretty bad at shop class, let me tell you. So, you look at it's just a constant improvement in standards. Like, okay, that happened. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. What are we doing about for flags and stuff? What do we do? There's always something happens, and it's like, how do we make sure that doesn't happen again? So that's why we have the ISR rules, because that we have to follow all that stuff. Otherwise, you can't have an event that's safe and insurable if you don't follow these safety guidelines. That's why they're there. And we've learned over the years what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The insurance is a huge thing from your organization. But when you have someone bringing in a 1975 sled, are they showing proof of insurance, like liability, that they bring in on their own, or is that all covered by ISR?
Well, we have our own. We use Stonegate, and it's covered by us. Like every race, we insure the race, and it's mainly just liability insurance for everybody out there. So if the sled goes off the track and hits somebody, they've got insurance for that. And you pay that on your registration the day of the race to cover the insurance on it.
Yeah.
This is a good question, but I have the answer. There's nowhere safe to go. The DNR will find you.
He said, where do you practice without getting the DNR involved with noise?
They know. They just know.
Yeah, well, guys have tracks all over the place, and you just got to be careful. Like, there's probably half a dozen tracks around. Like, I know there's one in a sand pit where it doesn't cause anybody. There's another one that's sort of in a swampy lake that nobody really minds it too much.
Very cool.
It's surprising. Like, if you're doing it during the day, I haven't heard too many of the practice tracks that people have been complaining about.
Yeah. When does your season start, Al?
We're going to get started early this year, and then we've got our schedule. There is one little change on our schedule. We're doing it in Montebello, Quebec, and that's going to be the weekend of, I believe it's the 24th and 25th. It says the weekend prior to that now. Normally it just starts usually around the first part of February with the Bonjour Cup, and we've been trying to look for something because everybody asks every year, because that's kind of the premier race in Ontario, and everybody would like to have a race prior. So we had a gentleman, Claude, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, Boyer. He's an old automobile racer. He raced with Jules Villeneuve and Jacques Villeneuve back in the days. He got interested in it and wanted to hold a race in Montebello, Quebec. So he's pushing for having one there, and that's going to be a land track, and it's going to be exciting. And then after that, we go into the Bonjour Cup, and that's the second week of February.
Al mentioned something a couple of minutes about where our track's built. Some people it's on, have got a spot where they could build a track, and Eganville is a land track, so it has to be flooded. So it's like hundreds and thousands of gallons of water go to build this track for 2 days. And I got to throw this to Duane, but the comparison between you do your first hot lap on Saturday morning and you run your last final on Sunday, what's that track like, Duane?
No, well, the track for sure gets beat up and the ice is very thin at the end of the weekend. But land tracks are preferred, I believe, by most racers because just everything it's purely designed, for the racing purpose. So you're not just hoping for a nice surface. They design it like at the Bonjour Cup. It's phenomenal. It's like the Daytona 500 for us in Ontario. It's a phenomenal event any year, but this year is the 50th. So if anybody even remotely is interested in ice oval, you don't want to miss it. But for sure, again, to answer that question, yeah, the track gets beat up, but they do such a phenomenal job in building it that it lasts, the 2 days with, exponential racing. It's just crazy.
Yeah. They'll start off with about 18 inches of ice.
Yeah, and the thing is with the land track, if you wear through a land track ice, you're just going to get muddy. If you wear through the ice on a lake, you're having a bath.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. Like, they will get down to the dirt in the corners on a land track, and I don't know how the lake ice seems to be that much harder, because I'm sure we've raced on probably 15 inches of ice and never gone through. So
yeah. We've had to divert the racers out, move them out a bit if certain lines get destroyed. So fortunately, and Eganville is a huge track, so there's lots of room and we manage for sure.
Right on. Throwing Spark says, do you have to buy your fuel at the track?
No. Most of the guys buy fuels like from Klotz or VP, but you can race just gas station fuel. We do testing for fuel, but I haven't ever pushed, other than that Champ sled that you saw there earlier that we were talking, that's custom made. Those ones we do test the fuel, and there's no oxidization in it. So you test that to make sure that by no oxidization, it's ethanol. Like, that's kind of the one that's it burns a lot hotter than others, but there's also additives that people can add to it. But for now, no, you can just use your stock gases or from a gas station.
It also depends on the classes that you're in. Like super modified, when your compression's north of 100, you've got to run like avgas, which we run.
Well, not avgas, but high octane.
C10 high octane, sorry.
Yeah, right on.
I'm just trying to make it sound, embellish on
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because remember back in the old hot rod days, that was the guys with the 427 Corvettes that go to the airport and pump avgas right into their Corvettes. It's like you can't do that anymore, apparently.
Go figure. Go figure.
Here's a question for the techies out there. And All Terrain TV says, can you explain what backshift is and how to improve it?
Well, that's for your clutching.
Exactly.
So that's when you're coming into a corner and you hit the brakes. The clutch you want to keep your RPMs at a certain rate. It's just a matter of you've got springs, you've got weights in the clutch, and then you've got your secondary clutch that has different ramps and different springs in that. And it's just a lot of playing around to change your springs, your weights, and it's all about keeping your RPMs and your power band.
Science.
The best way to do it is to get somebody to dyno your engine. Now, it's going to cost a lot more, or you just watch your RPMs and just you can tell sort of where your peak is that you want to keep your stuff at to get the most power. And if you want to get right down to a fine art, then you start going to the dyno and just playing with it to keep your RPMs up. And that's the height of the belt on the clutch. If the primary clutch is pushed right in, the belt's going to be on the top. And it's like if you're driving a 10-speed bicycle or something with that, when you've got the chain right up at the top, it's tough going. So you want to move down to keep your revolutions going.
Historically, that's such an interesting thing is the whole backshifting on tracks, because you talk about like Bonachar Cup, it's a massive track, and then you get into shorter tracks. And I remember being a teenager up in Owen Sound, and Pierre Gingras come flying into the pits because his clutching wasn't right, and he's getting mad because he's trying to do it by himself, he's losing his temper. He looks at me and I just grab his clutch and I'm helping Pierre Gingras change a clutch because it's so important. Like you got 25 twin tracks out there, all built the same, but that little bit of clutching and backshifting, and it changes from track to track. You can have your engine, back then they say you can have your engine figured out completely, but a different track with the backshifting going in the corners and stuff, it would be completely different. You got long straightaways. Peterborough, was another one, a big track. Then they get into a smaller tracks and it's different. So somebody like Duane, who's got to sit there and say, Eganville, I'll be wide open the whole time. I'll just put a piece of elastic on my thumb. I'm not going anywhere today. Do you do that, Duane? Do you find yourself having to change backshifting different tracks?
I haven't. Well, to date, I haven't had to for the most part, but there's different people that are doing that and changing their gearing. Of course, is like apparently Woodstock, New Brunswick, which I haven't got a chance to run at, is a huge track. And it definitely will require a different gear for some people. Absolutely. Like just large and fast. So.
And going back to the backshifting and that, people that are really good at clutches, you can tell because it does a lot to your race. Like if you're keeping your power band right in the peak spot and you do it by your clutching, your gearing, it makes a big difference in your race results.
For sure. Another question here, Hal Armstrong. Is there a class to race 90 stock sleds like the 96 440 XCR, ZR, MXZ sleds?
Not with us. The only thing that would be something that new would have to be a fan engine.
Yeah, right.
Presently.
Yeah.
If you get enough people interested, then who knows, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like you probably have to tweak the classes as you go, because as the older sleds become more harder to find, right, and more rare, then you're going to have to open it up to
also we experience this in our vintage race. We do vintage racing with dirt bikes in the summer.
Yeah.
And you guys might even have this issue with your race classes, is basically when they got to the point when it became liquid cooled, single monoshock in the rear, and then disc brakes, all the bikes are put together up to 07. So bikes from 1987 are racing against 2007 bikes, but there's not enough bikes to split the classes yet.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to have that kind of prepared. It's something we've been kind of with the organizers kind of going, hey, it's not really fair that I'm getting smoked by an aluminum frame bike that's 20 years newer, parts are readily available for it, and all this. And that's kind of what you run into. I think there is a point when you talk about the sleds where it was like late 90s, the engineering kind of started getting to a very high degree, and your early 90s sleds are nothing like a 1998 or a 99. So you run into that same issue.
We're fortunate. We still have a good amount of older sleds like the 85s. You got to also be careful on how many classes you have. Like right now, we usually run about 60 to 66 races in a day. You start making more classes, and then all of a sudden you get 2 or 3 sleds in a class. It doesn't make for a very exciting race. So that's why you just got to be careful on how many you open it up to.
Yeah. Al can also clarify this too. We've had something that's called a combo class. We got 2 classes which are pretty comparable in speed and stuff. And rather than having 3 in one class and 3 in another, you put 6 sleds on the track. But Al could better explain how that works.
Yeah, and that usually happens race day. Like if there are some classes that are going to be too small, we will bundle them up a bit. So as far as the combo classes, not something you like, but it's just the big thing is to get as many people out as you can to enjoy the sport. So if they have 2 or 3 sleds, it's not enjoying.
And it's not enjoyable for the fans either, people that come out to watch.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're here trying to build the.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get a few more people that are interested in it.
Get more people interested.
As soon as you have a lot of coverage, it might even help the clubs down in the States.
Build the awareness.
Trying to build up.
Now, you guys bring up something, it just triggers a little thought here. And that's if you look back historically, as we did earlier, we're talking about like early 70s and then mid 70s was ice racing. Suddenly you come up with, 77, say that you've got independent front suspension. And then out comes, Skidoo with a twin tracker in 1981, and you race those for 20 years. Then another class came out called the Formula 3. So you had Formula 1 snowmobile, hit these Formula 3s, which were just massive triple sleds on a single track. Consumers, they look like a consumer sled, but when you talk to people race them, the Formula Plus X's had a totally different front ends and stuff. It was wild racing. And then so you saw one of the pictures earlier, they were explaining about champ sleds. Like a champ sled is a custom built sled, and it's designed for racing. And they're lightning fast. Like when people say, "Oh, it's not as fast as such and such." Ask Duane, when you're standing there on the track and you've raced that track and you see one of those go by a champ sled, they are lightning fast and they're just so accurate on the track. So it's interesting. There's always been this top level of racing from the old, Leaf Spring days to the IFS to twin trackers to champ, to the Formula 3 to Champ 440. There's always been this class just so fast, but the rest of the field is all exciting. And we also try to have classes that make it affordable. Like we talk about 440 fan, you're trying to create a class, and no racing is, cheap, but you're trying to keep it affordable so that they can get the engines, they get the tunnels, they get parts without having to go and start ordering from a catalog and UPSing it. And it's, there goes Christmas, kids. Daddy needs a new IFS arm,
It is relatively like Phil just mentioned, you can run something as, at entry level and something fairly inexpensive, or you can jump right in and depending on how much money you want to spend. But it's definitely user friendly, and everybody's welcome, whatever they're comfortable with, as far as financial, what they want to invest in a hobby, because it is a hobby. And, for sure, as far as like just a single, there's lots of enticers out there, and they're a popular sled to run. Every family pretty near had one back in the day. And so they're a great one. SS 440s, all of that. Like,
Yeah,
sure.
they're getting hard to find. The SS 440s.
Well, ones that are not mangled.
Yeah, that's great. And the Enticer, I mean, Larry Enticer's got those all locked down. So good luck getting one of those.
The imitators have caused those to go to the wayside.
Oh, you'd be surprised how many there are still out there. It's just mind-boggling.
They were very popular for sure, and durable.
Sure.
And
If I may jump in, you were talking earlier about your vintage motorcycle event. I've been up to the one up in Bayfield, up in top Muskoka there, the Enduro vintage. It's amazing to see all that history.
That's the one.
And the people who were in there, you walk around the pits and like, I bought this bike brand new, and it's the red Can-Am in '81. I bought it's so the passion, but it's also interesting the people who run those events. You talk about like coordinating an event, and for us, we go to the races, and it's great at the end of the day when all the races, MacInnes team family all come around. They say, thanks so much for being out. They see us out there at 7:00 in the morning. It's -25. And I'm not, who's making me feel bad is these little kids who are lined up for hot laps, and it's -23. Like one day I walk out there, the first sled was little Charlie McFadden. I'm like, Charlie, it's -25. He's just ready to go. Like, so there's a real passion of the racers, the organizers of let's just make these events happen. Those of us who've been lucky to go to events, like I said, Owen Sound, Kawartha Cup back in the heydays of single trackers, twin trackers, Eganville. There's so many great tracks in history. And our job is to try and keep that going and make it available. If somebody says, you know what, I've never gotten to do that, or I used to do it. I'm going to get my son or my nephew. He wants to try it. So we're trying to keep these circuits and venues open. And everybody is our friend except the weather. We've had the craziest weather. Sometimes it's a snowstorm or the temperature goes through the roof. We even had Cochrane have to cancel the races a couple years ago because the ice was melting in Cochrane. They bring heavy equipment on, and that's a lake race. They actually bring heavy equipment out there, graders, to grade the track, and they bring these massive. The guys who put the track together, they build the ice roads up there. They build the track. Yeah. And that year, it got that warm. When Dan made the call and said, "I have to cancel the races," the ice is melting. We're like, "Dan, have you been drinking Labatt's 50 or something?" Because that never happens in Cochrane. And there it was.
Yeah. Wow.
What happened there was the ice started coming away from the shore, and that was the problem. There was they had lots of thickness for the ice, but there was about 5 feet of water you had to go over in order to get to it.
Yeah, that's not good.
But I just want to add that the Polar Bear Cup, which is the race that's held in Cochrane by Dan Gerard and Norm Bouvier, is a phenomenal race as well. It's 9 hours north, but again, and there's lots of people that kind of design their trail riding around the race. From what we've learned to date, we had over 100 racers up there last year. It's another premier race, second to none as far as just the whole town embraces the event. And they have an amazing banquet dinner on the Saturday night at the pavilion right beside the track, so on and so forth. So
now I've got a few pictures on there from that. You'll see the one where the people are coming through the Polar Bear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they further
the first race they had up there.
You'll see the big.
They held it in January, and it was -50 degrees.
Was the first inaugural.
The next year they changed it to mid-March.
That one.
And it is an interesting thing. They talk about Cochrane and Eganville is very similar. You have the whole community showing up to put this race on. You got people working for weeks ahead, the whole weekend. You got volunteers who don't even get to watch the race. They're out doing all this stuff. It's really something. It puts faith back in the old days of Canadian winters when every town had a winter carnival and stuff. So it's just great to see the work that people up in Cochrane do. I'll throw it back to Al, but yeah, the people of Cochrane are really awesome.
Phenomenal event. Phenomenal event.
I do love that because I do love that because you could be up there for just riding your brand new snowmobile trail ride, and then there's an event like this going on. You can take it in for one of the days, right?
Yeah,
100%. 2 days, 2 solid days, Saturday and Sunday of solid racing. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's
and
very
these guys
cool.
do a great job, as everybody was saying. But the thing that I really like about them is they also give back to the community with the money they raise. Like it's put on by the Vintage Snowmobile Club, They do the race. They do a few vintage rides, and they actually do a great job with the pot for the racers. So the racers do well monetarily, but they also give back. There's another picture I've got on there where what they've raised over the year, they're giving to the hospital. There was a check there for $5,000 they gave to the hospital.
Phenomenal.
And that shows you the type of people they are. Like, it's not just about the racing, it's about the whole community. And the other thing, if you ever get up there, the snowmobiling's great, but they've got a museum there that is just top notch. It's got a lot of
Vintage sleds, yeah.
vintage race sleds, just vintage snowmobiles. If you're fortunate enough to get up there and Dan's in there, he can tell you the story of every sled that's in there, and make sure you probably have about half a day. They also have the
Dan was on our show a couple years ago. He was an amazing guy. We did a big campaign, Save the Museum, because there was a threat to kick him out of there, but I'm glad it was successful and he got to stick around, right?
At that museum too, it's a piece of Canadiana because they've got snowmobiles right from 1960, 61 right through. So there's a whole piece of Canadian history, the history of the snowmobile in one building. You walk around and they can tell you everything, every type of model that was used, where they came from, first dealers up in Cochrane in that area. Amazing Canadiana stories right there. It's like going to the canoe museum or boat museum. There's just so much history in one room.
Oh, way better than a canoe and boat museum. Come on.
Oh, come on.
What are you talking about?
We don't have a boat museum? Yeah. Where are we? Ravenhurst?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here?
I know. We need to redo that movie, Paddle to the Sea, but with a little snowmobiler going through the winter, fall. Yeah,
that's right. Keith Mack, thank you very much. Just wait. Hold on. Just speaking of people throwing money around, Keith Mack, give me a super chat for $6.99 Canadian. Hope the season's good to you guys. You deserve it. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. That's awesome.
I would add to like the whole good, feel good aspect of it is that it is, as we are discussing, it's totally family oriented. It's all about the kids, the families with their children coming out. We've got multiple families that have their children coming out with us, and it's top to bottom. So everybody's out enjoying themselves, getting fresh air, like I say, it's totally geared for the family as well. And to touch on when we were talking about the safety features earlier, and Al was mentioning a couple of incidents. We don't want to scare anybody off because the sport is relatively safe. You're going to have your mishaps and what have you, but because of all the safety features that we put on these sleds and are put on these sleds, like everybody's plans on going home on the Monday. You know what I mean? We all have jobs, day jobs to go to and all that other stuff. So it's very family oriented and it is relatively safe.
But nobody goes to a NASCAR race to actually see them make it around the lap.
Well, like I say, that you have a little bit of, calamity. That's fine. But for the most part, it's a lot of fun. It's just fast, loud racing, and you can't go wrong.
No, that's right. Hey, listen, we're going to do a roll call, okay? And just say hi to everybody in the chat. We've had people coming and going all night. We got a good gang in there right now. Do you want to do the roll call?
Yeah, and I think we can get in some of these vintage photos that you guys shared with us too.
Yeah, for sure.
That people will be all over that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Oh, because I have
to do that one there.
Yeah. Oh, this is a great setup, guys.
If it was me, it'd be a slide projector. They'd be upside down and backwards. So
you'd be clicking the thing. It'd be like the little turn wheel.
Yeah.
And this is my next photo. Click. Corey Brock's in the house. Click. Trail Kid 84. No. LaPointe's $800 in the chat as always. We got Uncle Buck as well, who we mentioned earlier, being one of the Ditch Fellows. Vet Fan 1967, who's always in the chat recently. Renegade X850, of course. Iron Moose. I don't know if I think he might have been one of maybe in the first one. I don't know if I saw him a couple weeks ago, but Bam Customs in the chat as always. I know he'd be all over this one as well.
We got some pictures from Bam Customs.
Yeah, Nathan Metcalf 6854. I don't know. Is that name
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just Fly Low in the chat. IJGU88 Throwing Sparks, who's had a couple questions that we've answered. Ron Kessler 165 says, "What's up?" We got Jaden 1328. We also got Savage 1589 who had a comment. He said, "Open face helmets when men were men."
And frostbite was a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently frostbite didn't exist. Olive Garden Gnome 1576. Got Wisco Sledheads and Jacob Massard. They're having a shop night working together. Who else? Mike Goulit said, "Hey guys." Who else do we got?
I did see a comment in the chat when we first signed on. Somebody asked me about the elf outfit. Well, that's a Christmas thing I do at a dealership in Ayr, Ontario. I dress up as an elf. I've been seen riding Can-Am Spiders on the highway dressed as an elf, and so it's next Wednesday at the dealership in Ayr, Team Vincent Motorsports. I will be with Santa for Kids Picture Day. So if you want to, let's talk about an elf thing. Yeah, it happens.
No, that's you wear an elf suit all summer long.
Bill does some crazy stuff for sure.
He was in the elf suit at the Port Sydney vintage motocross race this year.
Mike Burbick's in the chat. Michael Julio, Chris Watson joined a little late. He says, "What's up?" Hal Armstrong or Hal Armstrong. He answered the question.
Hal Armstrong. If people know him from the internet, he's Time Machines on Facebook. You won't find a more knowledgeable person. Hal is a walking database of, and not just Polaris, but every manufacturer. You walk through a vintage show, he'll look and say, "Oh yeah, that's the Columbia MTD that was made such and such. They had this track, and they went to." It's mind-boggling. Yeah, you'll never get through a vintage show quickly when you're with Hal. He's super
He's
knowledgeable.
also a Polaris fan. Don't forget that.
Hal stopped by to see us in Toronto as well, and we had a great chat with him. Phenomenal guy and very knowledgeable, like Phil said, obviously.
Now he's also asking a question here: what the average age is? What would you guys think
of the person or of the rider or of the machine?
The rider. I think that's what he's asking.
I'm gonna say 50.
I'm gonna put it around 40, 45 somewhere. We do have quite a few kids. That'll cut it down some.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. There is some old men out there, including myself. But whatever. It's all good.
Yeah. Brian Lynn, 1955, says Brian from Astorville. Yep, that's a good buddy from up north. Slush Lake. Outdoor Hobby Guy says good evening. Ryan Matthews, Y2Q says what's up, and
I did see
says he can arm wrestle Phil any day.
Number 95.
Bring it, cat guy. Bring it.
Put those guns away. This is a family show, Phil.
Is it deer season? Is it deer season?
John Deere
Ryan's
season.
one of our good sponsors. He owns Cat Shack and Cycle Salvage in Peterborough.
Right on.
Oh, right on. And then
he's been with the group from day one.
Great guy.
I love that.
Racing and supporting. So he's phenomenal individual.
And then just to end off the chat here, Patrick Carey Shell from Sudbury and Sled Tube is in the chat tonight.
And that roll call tonight is brought to you by TrailLink. We're going to put that up here. Out on the trails, connection matters, and that's where the TrailLink comes in. It's the off-grid buddy tracking system that keeps your group connected even when the cell service can't. You can quickly find and notify your crew if you need help with long-range performance up to 10 kilometers on open ice and 1 to 2 kilometers through hills and trees. That's about 3 to 4 miles, guys, for the Americans out there. It's built on a mesh network that links up to 20 riders with a long-lasting battery and a bright display showing group connection and alerts. TrailLink keeps you connected when it matters most. TrailLink, no one left behind.
What's the discount code?
It's SNOWBRATS, SNOWBRATS, for 25% off your unit at traillink.ca, TRAILINK.ca. It's just one L in there. And hit them up. And you want to learn more about it? Just look 2 weeks ago, they were on the show, and it's an awesome little unit that Drew and I have used all summer and winter. So it's very cool. But back to business now. You know what I think we're going to do is we're going to we'll just go through the slides one at a time because we've we've kind of been jumping around.
We kind of jumped all over the place.
But that's the way
fault.
we are.
My
It's
fault.
it's the ADHD.
It's called organized chaos.
That's the way the show.
I have here.
Yeah, that's the way the show goes. But go right up to the start of fan photos, and we'll show some fan photos from our gang. And the fan photos, they're brought to you again, just in case you forgot, by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction. And if you go to fasttrack.co, FASTTRAC.co, 2 T's in there, add the toolkit with your purchase of your studs, and use that coupon code SNOW, and the toolkit is absolutely free. That's what our buddies at Fast Track will do for you. So getting back into the fan photos here, we got a couple here. Bam Custom sent in some pictures. He emailed me, said, Gary, you're going to recognize a few of these because we rode quite a bit last winter together. And this is a covered bridge up near Palmerston.
Very nice.
I bet you Phil Molto's been up there a few times.
I know that spot. Yeah.
Yeah. First time I found it this year, and all my years of riding was this year. We were at that little Palmerston gas station, which I think I actually bought the owner a new Corvette. The amount of times I ate in there this winter, and it's like it's like someone said there's a covered bridge not too far away. I think it was Bam said it, and it's like, well, we're finding that today, and we found it. I've been there about 3 times since. So next picture is his fancy helmet lights. So this is from LJE Enterprises. The
shine on the snow. Holy.
Oh yeah, they're insanely bright. We love them. So we've actually covered up our oxygen light with them because they're so much better, and then we can color code them too. So he rides blue, and what was I riding? Green.
Green. I was running yellow.
Yeah.
And it was like people, when we rode our big group ride in Sudbury, like in the snow dust middle of the night, people said the yellow light was distracting because it was that bright on the back of the helmet. They're like, it looks from a distance, it looks like a vintage coming straight at you. Like,
yeah, but super bright.
Yeah.
And then the next shot is he says just another.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, just another Tuesday at Cowbell Restaurant, which is very cool. I miss those days, man. Like we went there a few times this winter as well. That was kind of cool. And that's Tuesday at noon. And this is the day he picked up his new 2025 XRS 900.
Don't show this to the Polaris guys. They're not they're supposed to know about this. Dang it.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that the where was that? That was up Fergus, Guelph, the fire department knew what they were doing. So he gave them a good
training session.
Gave them a good training session on how to put out fuel fires. So that was interesting. So this is post fire, and he loaded it in his truck and stopped at 2-wheel and ordered a brand new sled on the way home. So that was great. And then he said, what happens at the wood pile stays at the wood pile. And this is a shot we stopped on the way back from one of our night rides, and it was just epic. And I was dying to ride over top of that wood pile, but I think they talked me out of it. Well, I didn't want to do it on my sled. I wanted to do it on Bam's sled.
Of course.
And then this is from our group ride. This is at the top of the Wolf Lookout in Sudbury. So that's a great shot. That's your sled in the middle there.
No, that's Jinxie's party animal buddy Dan.
That's Dan's sled in the middle.
Yeah, my sled doesn't even look like it's there.
So you can see that our group ride gets a little crazy, and it's piled up just like that. So thanks for sending those in, Bam.
Remember we were cutting Dan up because he parked the sled right in the middle as we all trying to get a nice drone shot. He's like, I'm gonna pull my sled up right here.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then Massart sent this in, speaking of vintage sleds, and he says it's a little throwback to his favorite sled that he never should have sold. And this is when he actually sold snowmobiles instead of just buying them and keeping them.
Yeah. He had a snow
Look
cross.
at the
He had a snow cross flap and a snow pro trap.
Yeah,
look at the paddle on it.
Yeah, I recognize that flap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you see I did what I did to his name there.
Oh, I didn't put it. Oh,
Massart
we're gonna need to get a
800
longer bar sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Start
so-
adding all of his machines.
No, that's cool. So that's a fan photos for tonight. Thanks for sending those in. If you guys want to send in your photos, it's I'll put that up on the screen here. But make sure you get them in before Monday at noon.
Banners.
And it's fanphoto@mudbrats.com. I'll just leave that up for a while while we go through these other ones.
All right, so we're gonna start right from the top of your photos. We've already gone through some of these, so we can just kind of
Okay, we can talk
breeze
about
through the
this
ones
one.
we've seen.
Yeah. Phil can talk
go-
about all of them.
All right, so launch session
go-
snowmobile day 1 done. Next photo.
Okay, go back to the first one though that you had for our header. Next,
There.
Yeah, the header.
No,
The
Oh, the
one
blue Thunderjet.
Oh yeah.
now that right there, that is a junior sled. That's a F340, which is made out of a Indy Light.
There's- Yeah.
But that's actually Duane's nephew. That's his daughter on that sled, and they've made it look like a snow jet. When that the family is really interested. When they go, like Duane's brother is all dressed in the one-piece snow jet. Their trailer's all done up like snow jet, and it's incredible how loyal they are to brands.
Loyalty.
Oh, we got a comment here for Phil. Just
Uh-oh.
wait a minute here. Man. It says I'm trying to find it in the
Scroll
chat here.
because you're all the way up. You got to scroll down.
A fan.
Yeah, right here. Say hi to Phil for me. This is Brian Lynn. He put more mileage on my Lynx than I did. Phil brought it up to me on the truck from Ayr to Astorville. Phil, we were on that ride with him, and
We
we
pulled it.
pulled it more mileage than he rode it. I think it was 30K he got.
Yeah, no, 36 kilometers.
Yeah.
Lost an injector.
It was fun for the first 26 kilometers, I think. And then he got a little slushy on the ride home behind the the 850.
So I take it that's the Skidoo Lynx, not the Arctic Cat Lynx.
No, it was a Skidoo Lynx.
Brand
Yeah.
new 2020.
Yeah.
That would have been a 23.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that's funny.
I didn't actually know that Phil brought
Yeah.
the sled up front.
Yeah. So did you have that one at the show, Duane? That
Oh, sorry.
snow jet? Is that the one you had there?
No. Well, no, mine's an original 75 440 free air.
Oh, okay. There
Super
you go.
modified. This is my niece Jaden that races that 340. So, if you look at it, it's got independent front suspension.
Look at
In
the,
the
picture.
the lack of skis really
Yeah.
on it too.
No, it's got skis. They're blending in there. But
Oh,
like I
okay.
say, that's got an independent
Very
front
small, though.
suspension. The
Yeah, that's
340 Indy lights are based off of that.
What
It
kind of
just shows
speeds
the
are
creativeness.
what kind of speeds are you getting in a 340 like that on the track?
They're probably doing somewhere around 55, 60.
Yeah. Wow, that's fast.
For sure. It's fast for a junior rider, but providing the tracks allow for it, that it's not uncommon for sure. If there's enough room and what have you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like how many turns would a track have? Is it more of an oval or is it more like a GP track where
No,
you get a few?
No, it's meant
it's
to
just
be an oval.
we just turn left. Our motto
left?
is squeeze and
One
lean.
way. Yeah,
Go fast, go left.
you got it. Squeeze and lean.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll run through some of these. Did someone have a comment about this photo specifically? I think someone did. I think TRAC had a.
Did I star it?
Yeah. Is this the one? No, this wouldn't be it.
No.
Talk about.
Oh,
the
but
photo.
Chris Watson did have a question. He said, "What goes into the track before? What goes into preparing the track before a race?"
Depends. If we're on a lake, what we do, we go out, mark it out to the size we have, and then it's just a case of plowing it. And not very many places where you're on a lake track where you can flood it just to smoothen it out. But like something like the Bonjour Cup, where we're going to have a land track, like they'll start probably 3 weeks ahead of time, packing down some snow, and then they just start laying the water to it. Like every night that it's freezing, they're out there pouring the water to it. It's
in there.
a very time process and an expensive process too. And that's why you don't see too many of them anymore. Everything's gone crazy expensive these days. So unfortunately, back in the, I'll call them the good old days when there was many more manufacturers in the game, and you'd go to the small towns and everybody'd have their winter carnival and there'd be a snowmobile race there. But it's just got to the point where it's died out because of the cost, and we're trying to bring it back now and trying to keep it as economical as possible.
Well,
And it's part of the lakes.
Volunteers are tough enough to get for a snowmobile club putting trails in. It's got to be near impossible to, to find people to help you out on this. Like, how much staff does it take to pull together one race?
We go between 12 and 15.
Yeah, that's a lean force though,
and
right?
That's just to run the race part. You usually have probably another 3 guys that work on the track, and then on the Friday night or Friday afternoon, we usually get all the pylons out, the hay bales, and then at the end of the day, you got to pick up all the hay bales. So it's a labor-intensive job, and we can always use volunteers.
There you go. If anyone
and
an
we've
interesting
had
side note, if I may, an interesting side note is that not just the track, we just don't arbitrarily come up with the size. Like, there are parameters we have to follow, but also in that we also have to look at ambulance parking, scoring parking, trailer parking, and access for staging. So it's not just the track, but how's the track fit into the whole area? Because we need a lot more stuff than just the racetrack itself. It's everything that feeds the track.
that makes sense as well, right?
And the access to get onto the lake as well, we got to look at as well.
When you go into like the hard surface tracks, I take it they're at a fairgrounds or something like that maybe has a horse track already set up. Is that kind of where you're running them?
We ourselves only have the one, and that's Eganville, and that one was just in a field. And they've I'll go into a bit of the history of Eganville a bit later, but they just took a field and they brought in equipment and made an oval for it. A lot of times you use a horse track. The one that we're having in Montebello, that was from an old hotel that had a horse track with it back in, I think, 1910, and was when it was put in, and it went into the 60s. So now it's overgrown and everything, but they're gonna clean it all up and make that into a horse track or into a racetrack. But you look at probably the most famous one is Eagle River, and that's another one that somebody had the property and they just made the track, and it's a very interesting track. Very tight
banked.
corners, and it has banks on it. Yes.
Oh, I gotcha. That's serious.
And there's a horse track down in Woodstock, New Brunswick, that they've ran a race the last 3 years. It's a phenomenal track. It's huge as well down there. And another situation with a community that has totally embraced it and are just very welcoming. And I haven't had a chance. I've just heard just amazing, things about the race. And some of us have made it down. A bunch of us are going down this year as well from the club.
Cool. The question here from Ron Kessler. He said, does the different classes do different amount of laps?
Depending on the race. Sometimes if we have a feature race, we'll have them run maybe a couple more laps. We go anywhere from 3 to 5. And then on a longer race, you might get up to 7, but it's not that like your super stock 340 Fan Enticer gets kind of shafted and only gets 3 laps, and then somebody that's running a Supermod 440 gets 7 laps. You just try to give the more laps to a feature, and like every weekend we'll have a different class that's a feature race where you might get a bit of extra money for it or just a different trophy for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty much everybody's on the same laps.
Yeah. Sled Tube C says, what is insurance like to host an event? Expensive? It's got to be almost free. The insurance companies just about pay you guys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very
You pay about $1,500 a day for insurance, and that's for your liability.
Right on. That's not crazy, like when you think about what it is, the event, right?
Yeah.
Racing.
But when you're paying for it, ask Duane's a racer. Ask him how he likes paying for it, because that's what we do with our registration. What we do is we charge so much for depending on class, and payback is 100%. So we'll drop it from first place to third or fifth. That will pay back, and that's just a percentage on what we take in. But then the two things, you got your insurance and your ambulance. Ambulances aren't cheap as well, and every year the insurance goes up.
But a necessity. So I mean, if we want to race,
have to have both of them.
100%. So as racers, we realize this obviously, and if you want to race, these are the things that have to happen. As simple as that.
And what do you pay to enter a race? Like, what's a person pay if I've got a like a GP 400 or whatever, and I want to enter? What's it going to cost me?
I think it ranges from 35 to 50. Like super modified, most races are like $50, and that'll get you a heat in the morning and a final in the afternoon.
That's cheap. Like
that's cheap. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can barely go to McDonald's with 50 bucks these days.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
It's very reasonable, obviously.
Yeah,
in the big scheme of things, as far as racing goes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I hope we called up the right picture here, but Trite Kid 84 says, can you talk about the photo you had with the 800 Blizzard against the 440 Yamaha? Legendary race right there. Is that what we're looking at here?
No, those are two Polaris.
Was it maybe this photo this is the only photo we ever had
from way back. It would be one of the ones on the snow track.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll probably get to it. We'll probably get to it. So
we never showed any other photos though, so I don't know what the heck he's talking about.
So go back to where we left off there, and we'll just start it again. And yeah,
we talked about this photo. This was the 500
fan.
Yeah,
I do want to comment something here, and you're going to see it in one of the vintage pictures that's coming up. But I'm really blown away by the crowds you guys draw. Like, this is 2023. And
that's Cochrane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the polar bear there. That is part of the thing. Between Cochrane and even Eganville, they do a great job bringing people in and
promoting it.
I'll speak a bit more when we get down to the Eganville stuff about that. There is another question there about Trite Kid said he ran a lake race that was a GP track. For all our sleds, everything's set up for just turning left. Like, your handlebars are all been shifted over. If you take a look at them, they almost have like a Z pattern where your brake hand is up higher, your throttle is down. So when you're turning a corner to the left, you're in a comfortable position. If you tried turning to the right, you would have a heck of a time.
Right.
The race seats are also beveled to allow you to be sitting staggered off the sled to the left, of course. Like, lots of us will have wedge. There's a wedge tank that's used for the lubrication on the suspension because you're on raw ice, right? So there's no very minimal snow dust. So that wedge tank, you can also doubles as a seat on your running board on your left side. So half your butt will be sitting on that kind of thing, staggered. So,
yeah.
And obviously with weight transfer as well. You want to be as low as you possibly can be, obviously, if you want to hit speeds that you want to achieve. So that's the idea, is to get low and fast and get comfortable.
Cool. Yeah. Love it.
So here's a few of our staff. We're just getting ready. Every morning we have a driver's meeting where we all get out and a few of us will say a few things to remind people things to do for safety, if there's any problems with the track or anything, and just welcome everybody in the morning. So there'll be about 3 of us that'll get up and have a little bit of a talk.
The volunteers with the club are amazing. They're awesome, right? From the corner people to the flag man to the, to the tech guys, to the staging guys, people, like I'm not referring, because ladies and men help us out. And some racers will help out here and there when they can. And they're all phenomenal. Like you were mentioning, a good, try to find people that are that passionate and are willing to be out there with us in the elements is somewhat rare. And we've got a great group of people with the club.
Do these people travel every race? Like, will they be the same core, or do you get local people volunteering?
It's pretty well the same people every race. Like, if you look at the guy within the center with the green flag, he comes from down, where the heck is he? Almost to Windsor. And he comes up every
I
week.
think Rob's in the London area, right? And Phil, of course, comes out with us.
What's that?
I say Phil is a staple with us, and he's phenomenal, obviously.
And you have
he's
Molly,
an asset in all areas.
Who's our secretary, probably does the majority of our work for us. Without her, we'd be lost. And she comes from Cornwall, so we pretty well are all over the province.
Both ends, yeah.
Yeah, ever neat.
Yeah, and those jackets there that everybody's got on, they were supplied by one of our other sponsors, Choco. They do a great job with helping out everyone.
Very cool.
Now, I did this. This is just another little bit of a blurb for Ryan at Cat Shack and Cycle, because he's just phenomenal at helping. But at the same time, this is kind of the new way the vintage sleds are going with their trailers and what they have. Back when these sleds were around, we would drag them off pickup trucks, have them on twin snowmobile trailers. You worked on the outside and bare hands, changing studs, doing your clutching, changing jets, which was always fun, getting gas all over your bare hands in the freezing temperatures. Now they all have trailers like this with diesel heaters in them, lights, and it's kind of a cushy way of racing. I like to call it, compared to what we used to be.
And if I could just jump in with one quick shout out to Ryan at Cat Shack. He brings a whole bunch of parts with him in his trailer for the weekend. So people break brake lever, guard, or whatever. Ryan's got it in his trailer. So he's a huge tech support for all the racers all weekend. Well, also him in the center racing.
Right on. You gotta love people like that, and to be such a faithful sponsor for the event is very cool. What'd you say? 30 years he's been involved?
Yeah, probably close to that. The other thing that's changed from now back from when we used to race, everybody is helpful. Like, there's no time. If somebody's stranded, there's always somebody jumping up trying to help them to get them out onto the track. Like, they call it a family now, and it's kind of like that.
The race community is phenomenal. Just like I believe that you'll find that in any race series, but vintage ice oval, the racers in general, like I was saying, you'll literally have a competitor that you're racing against over helping you with your clutching or lending you a part to get you on the track. It's phenomenal.
I love that.
It is phenomenal as far as that goes. Just great people. I've met myself. I've been involved since I bought the Thunderjet in 17 and got it ready, and got out in 19 to start racing. And the people that I've met in that short period of time, including Al and Phil, just phenomenal people. Like, I've got lifelong friends when you have people that have the same passion and interest and in common, it just makes it that much more enjoyable. It's just phenomenal, top to bottom.
Yeah, I talked to those guys at some of the shows, and I was at Sledorama a few years ago and had a really good chat with the Cat Shack, and super nice guys.
Yeah, Ryan.
Did you guys do Sledorama this year?
Yes.
Yeah. We were there, and Cycle Salvage and Ryan and the Cat Shack were there as well.
Right on. How was the show? How was that show for you guys?
It was. I would say it was better than the Toronto show.
Yeah,
right.
Right
on.
On.
People that were
traffic. We had lots of traffic. Yeah.
That's your people there, though. The vintage, right? Where Toronto is probably mostly new. I mean, you got the dealers drawing you in, right, or the corporate booths drawing you in. But the when you get into something like Sledorama, it's highly focused on.
Well, they call it the grassroots, right? The grassroots of snowmobiling, and it is for sure.
Yeah.
Toronto's more of a broad spectrum of everything under the sun. So as far as modern, vintage, and all that, but Sledorama, Peterborough for sure is people that are geared more to the same interests and what have you. So
yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And those are both a couple of Polaris Indy 500s there.
Which is referred to as F500s. That's that class. Yeah. Which is 500 liquid. And they fly.
Oh, for sure.
And they run stock motors in them, but there's a few changes like for handling, reinforcing material. So it goes around the corner better. You can change the exhaust on it. You can cut the muffler off and make it into an expansion chamber.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at this picture, and it's a great example because you've got the guy in the front that's got a deflector on his sled. It's not so much as a windshield, but it's a deflector. And then the guy behind him is like naked. What would possess you to run no deflector? Like, you wouldn't you be getting pelted with snow?
He's from Sudbury.
No, I think that's Jonathan on that sled. So he's from Kingston, but
it's all in the preference.
It's all in the matter of how you feel.
It's just a preference. When you're out there and the adrenaline's rolling, you don't obviously having some guys will run guards, so you have the gentleman in the front, like you said, with a fairly elaborate windshield, and Jonathan, the second racer, has a hand guard. So you know what I mean? Like there's a multitude of different hoods, shields, the way you can outfit your sled for sure. But it's just it's a preference thing. I don't run either. I don't have windshields on either of my sleds. And when you're out there, you've got your visor on your helmet. You generally wear goggles plus the visor, which protects you. Yep. And of course, you've got all your race garb on, so you're good. And like I say, the adrenaline's through the roof. It's just let's roll. When you get out there, you don't even notice all that.
Interesting thing to notice also in this picture is these are Polaris chassis. A lot of people will do the Formula 500 and then put a custom hood on it to look like in the background, it looks like a 77, 78 Blizzard. We also had one show up last year. Remember, the person had theirs done up and it looked like a Arctic Cat, the mailbox, ice oval race from 77, like the 78. It's amazing. They come up with these hoods, they make them fit, and it looks like a totally different sled, because it's all based on the same Polaris chassis, but people customize the hood look and colors. It's really, it really, some look pretty cool out there.
Personalized sled for sure. Yeah. They look great.
Right on.
Oh, that was the schedule photo.
Yeah, that's the schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this if I raced, this is what the sled would look like.
Yeah. Now, I was just using this as an example. Yes, there are accidents that happen, and we try to avoid them as much as possible. They don't, but that's why we're into the safety. And like I said, ISR usually once a year they have a quorum where they'll have a meeting and all their affiliates get together and they and they will go over the rules, change anything they need to, and come up with other ideas that are going to help the sport be safer. So it wasn't anything in particular that I was showing that sled being banged up. It was just because I wanted to show that there were accidents that do happen, and we just try to do whatever we can to make things safer.
Yeah, I guess
And I'll
that's
add-
Duane, you can probably comment on this though, and I'm just going to guess because I've never done it. But the like you are lower, so and you're leaning out. So are you typically sliding on your butt across the ice like this, or are you and trying to not let that sled flip on you, or what are your what's your accidents like when you spin out?
Well, it all depends. This guy looks like he caught an edge and went the opposite way.
Yeah,
To the right,
yeah, that's
which you don't want to do that. So again, that's the idea of being low and obviously to your left side and counterbalancing the sled is the goal, and that's what you want to achieve. So, but anything is possible. I mean, and the biggest thing is to be in control. So if you get yourself too far off the sled, you can have a bunch of mishaps. So, but the idea is to get, low and to the left and comfortable to the point where you can certainly competently control the sled at a high speed, at a high rate. So, and like I say, this guy looks like he caught the outside edge, went the opposite way, and hence there he's on his roof now. So
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good thing for you to do on an episode is come out and try a race.
I would. I'd love to do that. Actually, Rob, the old guy, he's probably going to be chiming in any time now because he was coming to the show late, but he was bugging me. He always asked me to go to these races and says he can get me a sled and everything, but he never comes through. So maybe you have to get Duane to get me a sled.
Well, we can do that.
Phil's right near me, so I can just pop out of Phil's house and grab one out of the back of his car.
We'll just run up to the mezzanine and grab one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Dave would like that, wouldn't he?
Jeff Steinbeck from Snowmobile Television, he did that last year. Or no,
Yeah.
last year or the year before. I think it was the year before he got a sled and came out and just did a whole episode on it. It was great.
Yeah, that is cool. I'd love to do that. That'd be fun.
Well,
So anyway, let's
son,
talk about just one thing going back. You had mentioned about helmets. And when we were talking about safety, and you said about, does everybody have to run a certain type of helmet? I mean, you had said you have to replace it after so many years, but what?
rated.
We only accept Snell or ECE. So right now, oh geez, I better not say that. ECE is 2206, and I'm not sure what the number is on Snell. I think it's 2025.
So do you know the number on this helmet? Maybe so I can run this one.
Phil will
also
recognize
have
that
to be
helmet.
My question is more, do you accept PayPal?
His addiction's kicking in. There you go.
That's right.
I got to text a friend. Just give me a second here.
Yes, we do.
So that's what we do as far as the helmets are concerned.
We need more shelving, Dad.
Throwing Spark says I need to race an Evinrude Bobcat SS.
There you go. I'm sure we could find a class for it somewhere.
There you go. Yeah. No, that's very cool. That's really neat. Like I think that's kind of cool. And that at every race you're lining up and you're going through and making sure everyone's got the proper helmet and safety gear and things like that.
100%.
We usually do all that in the morning before we do our hot laps.
Yeah.
We go through
Duane,
all the trailers and stuff.
And here, actually, Phil, I'll put you bigger there if you want to. Oh, where did it go here? Just wait a second here.
What are you trying to do?
I gotta get Phil here, and then boom, there. Show that.
With my kazoo head here. So this is one of my old snowcross helmets, and the reason I keep it is you can see there's parts missing off this thing. I cartwheeled off the track up at Owen Sound. I was knocked out cold. That's why you have to have a current good helmet. That's why they keep changing the standards and stuff. And they say, don't just grab an old helmet and throw it on a go race. Yeah, I destroyed his helmet. There's gouges in it. There's pieces missing. I did the thing you're not supposed to pass your own race sled, or if you could read your sponsor's name and it's upside down, either you or the sled are in big trouble. So that was my lesson learned. So I hold on to that to show people, like, that's why you wear a good helmet.
Yeah. You got a Can-Am sticker on that. Do you wear that on the vintage motorcycle races?
I do this so I get free coffee and air.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So now we're getting into the olden days of snowmobiles, back when they had snow tracks and banked ovals.
And an open-faced helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That actually looks newer than my helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have one of those kicking around somewhere too.
So that's the Yamaha and the Blizzard the guy was talking about.
Oh, right on. That is an epic shot.
Yeah. No.
Yes, they were very
I don't
bad
know how
tracks.
you
You got one guy riding the
what
apron.
size everything was.
That's cool.
But yeah, it wouldn't have been an 800 though. Like he was thinking it was an 800.
If it was the Yamaha, I think the largest they made were 643, which that could be what it was, and I can't remember who won Eagle River the one year with that.
Yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It was also an interesting era. The sleds, like that 800 King Cat, was just so heavy and bounced its way around the track. A lighter sled, a Yamaha, a 643 or a 440, it could beat them because just the weight and a much more efficient engine. Bigger didn't always create more power, especially when they got hot. So it was interesting. I remember a few years ago when people got back into bringing out, in the 800 sleds and consumers, but they never had these years ago. I said, oh yes, they raced 800s. Said they actually raced 250s. And people said, like, was that a kid's class? Like, hold my coffee. 250 cc, wound out at 10,000 plus RPMs on those ice ovals. Amazing sleds. We still race those 250 full mod class, and Duane could attest to how fast those things are. And they'll say 250, yeah, try one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was just talking about this with a buddy a few weeks ago, and it's like I'm old enough to know when the 440 was the big dog, and then when Skidoo came out with the 460s, the 462s, it was like, holy crap, this is insane. And then you had the Indy 500s, and you know what I mean? It just started going bananas. But I see Duane has a show and tell there too, I think. Does he?
Well, I was there, little pitch for FXR. But anyways, so this is your modern day. Obviously, we're showing pics of helmets from in the past. So this is a modern day FXR open face, like Moto X helmet, snow Moto X helmet. And they're super lightweight. And as I was mentioning, you run the goggles with the visor, so you're totally protected. And we also, which we didn't mention, and it's optional, but we run neck braces. Like a bunch of us wear neck braces. So, which is it's a great idea. I mean, obviously with a helmet on, and just the idea of just the lash, if you were to be hit from behind or what have you, or were to hit a blunt object or, the exterior of the track, the neck brace literally allows for a very small window of movement of your helmet while you're racing. So
is it like a Leat, like a motocross neck brace?
It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep. Very good.
A lot of us, I believe most of us are running them. So we're wearing them.
Are you wearing elbow, like you mentioned down the shoulders, but are you wearing elbow pads, knee pads? Are you wearing knee braces, or is that a no-no?
Shin pads, yes, that's a mandatory, is your shin pads. Elbow pads, it's optional. We suggest you should, but the shin pads are something that we never used to wear either, but my knees will attest to that. If you see some of the pictures where guys are going around the corner, your knees are pretty well, that one's on a oval, but when you're on the ice, your knees are almost right on the ice dragging. And when you start hitting those little chunks of ice, they hurt.
Oh, I bet, right? You want to make sure you have something hard on your knee to like now, if we go to boot.
If we go to the next picture there, I think, this one here, I'm not sure where that was, but That was in 1974. That was the first year for Snow Pro. This is when the factories just were able to do whatever they wanted to. But this picture I also got for when you look at the crowds that they used to have back then.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like even that Cochrane one, but this picture, when I was going through the photos, I went, holy crap! Like that's like a rock concert crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Like,
crazy.
Yeah.
I've been to events like demo derbies and things like that. And you get a lot of people out and see them, but that is I don't even know how you'd count that many people. There's got to be 3,000 people or in that stand. It's massive. Like
more than
but
that,
that's when sleds didn't cost a fortune, so you wanted to be on them every minute you could, and the winters were good. You could ride every winter or every week.
And I guess there's less distractions too. Like we got so many things to do. Like, you know, even just staying home and watching the Hallmark Channel, you know, like there's that distraction as opposed to here you'd bring your whole family out and
exactly. There's absolutely nothing not cool about vintage ice oval racing. As simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you tell your wife every time you buy the new sled.
And Al mentioned something quickly there in that picture was in that picture, every one of those sleds is a different manufacturer. I think I see a Rupp, the original SRX Yamaha, a Rupp, a Alouette Snow Pro, and I believe a Polaris PDC sled. So every manufacturer was involved in racing big time.
Yeah. I was wondering if that one on the right at the back is a Kawasaki Intruder Invader. It almost has that look to it, but
I'm not sure if it's a Yamaha or if it's an Alouette.
Yeah.
Like the other one.
If you're looking on the left side of the left side of the motor, it's an Alouette. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Super.
Yeah. Like Polaris, when they came up with that machine, they were using all kinds of trick material like magnesium. They used a bit of fiber carbon, and they used titanium. The Yamaha that was leading there, it was so light you could stand over top of it and pick it up with the handlebars.
Really?
So that was the year that everybody put their money into the budget.
Well,
very cool.
And that would raise a question, like with a modern day sled, like the sleds that you guys are running right now, what do they scale out at as far as weight?
600, 500 pounds probably for like an 850.
We have a minimum of 400.
Yeah,
400 pounds.
Yeah, so you wouldn't even be able to run a new sled on there.
That's
I think
I got a lot of carbon.
I think dry.
So there's a big thing with a lot of mountain sledders right now where they're doing like full carbon fiber conversion. So they'll do like the rails carbon fiber, the hoods, take all the extra weight out of the sleds. And I believe they're still over. I think the lightest one is 470 pounds right now I think that's the Polaris guy. Yeah, that's Chris Barantz. I think it's 470 pounds for an 850 turbo.
Yeah,
or
9R. That's actually a 9R, I think. But yeah. So like,
are they still using the 2-strokes in those, or are they?
Yeah, that's a 2-stroke motor. Yeah.
So once you go into the 4-strokes, that puts you.
We don't touch 4-strokes in this channel. They end up in the ditches too often.
Good.
Yamaha won 1971 and put them on the map. They were running alcohol. Trike Kid 84 says.
Yeah, and then they stopped all that.
Yeah,
got probably too expensive.
Wicked.
Well, that
that picture there is
clear, and there's a lot of reasons.
I'd love a picture like that on my wall. Like that just says about how the sport was back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And there's what Phil said about the guy standing right there taking pictures or whatever.
And if you look, that's a rail, like that's like a horse track. Like they had guardrails. They were cornering right around the guardrails. Like there was no protection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's why you go to see it. It's carnage like no other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these helmets here look like you just brought what you came with, right? Like,
I
think the guy on the right's got a hollowed out pumpkin.
That was the bomb back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's just crazy to see that thing standing up like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. They must have been so light, right? I like
Yeah,
these ones here. This is like
that one is a total
when you
home
talk
build,
about
too.
when you talk about Villeneuve and stuff. These are the sleds that come to mind.
Mm-hmm. Now this one was Mike Gifford, and that was one that him and his brother made, and he qualified the 1 year against all the factory guys, so he was quite proud of himself with that one. I think he finished either third or fourth in the final on it, and they did a great job. And hopefully we can get enough time that we can get to the end where we did have
If that's my wife, I'm not here.
no, it's god dang work. Where we see Sabrina's sled, but like the Gifford brothers, there's so many great Canadian guys that have been in the racing that have done very well, even against the Americans. I'd say we're almost head to head. We probably got just as many great racers from the past as there were from the States.
And
Yeah,
sled
Probably get
builders.
in trouble for saying that one. But and this is another one.
Who's the guy in the
Look
back?
at the
is
guy in the
the-
back.
What is that?
left.
He's
It's
in the
like
same class.
the Pink
Well,
Panther.
You know who that is? That's Gilles Villeneuve.
Is it
That's
really
Gilles
right,
Villeneuve?
right
That
on?
is Gilles Villeneuve. He came up for that one in the 74 Snow Pro Series.
Oh, that's really cool.
He just took the
Yeah.
wheels off his Indy car and
He designed that right from scratch, and like he was probably one of the biggest. You got Gilles in the back, right beside the lightweight Yamaha is an earlier brand of Snowjet, and that is Jim Adema that was on it. Those two guys were probably your biggest guys for inventing
Innovation.
technology. Like, yeah, Jim Adema was the one that really pushed them where we were on the high bank snow tracks. He was the one that started going down low with his snow jets and kind of trained everybody or taught everybody that that's a quicker route. So that's when things started to evolve. We went from the banked ovals to ice racing and on a flat track.
Yeah. And when you say studs, are you talking like, are they putting those big diggers in, or is there a limit to what you can run?
Well, us on ice, we just use a single point, and it can only be 3/8 of an inch past what the lug on the track is.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned that they mentioned that sled car in the background of Villeneuve's. That there is so much technology in that thing. So that's a twin tracker with a slip differential in it. So once it goes into the corners, one of the track disengages. Otherwise, it will right into the wall. If you notice his front end, he's got a full like race car front end. On the other sleds are just running typical leaf springs of the time. He's got like basically like a Grand Prix car under his butt there, but it's on snow.
Mm-hmm.
So he took so much of the car knowledge to build that sled, and that was for Alouette.
Yeah. Well, that's Throwing Sparks asked if it was a Manta. Did Manta kind of borrow his design?
Yeah, they would have came along after.
There, a lot of people thought that Villeneuve had just built a Manta, but that was Jacques and Gilles built those completely themselves with this limited slip differential. Yeah.
Look at the engine sticking out the back to keep it cold right behind his head. That's so cool.
It's wild.
Yeah, I'm a Formula One fan, so that's just kind of a cool connection there. So.
Shauna Thompson says, "Hey, Dad."
Wonder whose kid that is.
Yeah. She was probably the one phoning you, and then you said, "I'm on a podcast, damn it."
Answer your phone.
That's my daughter from the north. Okay,
That's
now here's
awesome.
another picture of that's Jim Adema again. And they are actually racing on sawdust on that one.
Yeah, you can see it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately with Jim Adema, he was one of the great inventors, innovators. But like we said, racing can be dangerous. And he lost his life in 1995 in Ironwood.
Oh, sorry to hear
when he
that.
wiped out and got hit. So, yeah, things can cause tragedies. But that's what
and
happens.
that's where the safety features, the additional safety features have come into play, right, over the years trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through unfortunate incidents.
Yeah. So that was kind of that picture, just to honor him, but also to show you the sawdust tracks that they raced on some years when we didn't get enough proper weather.
And to Jim Adima's credit, the sleds he was building there, like so low to the ground, low center of gravity, but also that was in the era where we had a couple weird mild winters of 73, 74. He made one of his sleds liquid cooled. He welded the whole casing around the engine and made a liquid cooled sled. So on a mild day, he was the only one who could run fast. Everybody else was just bogging out, and he had the first liquid cooled race sled basically.
Wow,
that's wicked. Yeah, you can't get an appreciation of how flat and low the sled is. It's just a pancake, right?
Yeah, I'm the guy who couldn't even.
And that's kind of.
And as a kid, who couldn't even make an ashtray in class. I was always impressed by that.
That evolved into the sled that Duane has now.
That's a 72, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a 72 Thunderjet, and the one that I race is a 75.
Oh, neat. Nice.
Now, this is kind of my nemesis here, because riding Polaris in 1976, you kind of wanted to crawl into a corner someplace, because these little things came out. We had to race our Starfires against them, and they just dominated. Like, you go to any, that was back when there was enough sleds. You would have probably 20 sleds in one class, and you'd only have maybe 8 in the feature, and it would be all Mercury. And if you're lucky, in 340 and 440, there might be 1 or 2 Yamahas, but Mercury just dominated the sport in 76. So it was kind of the way it started changing the way things went.
Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy like that they're not around anymore making sleds, right?
Well, that was part of the reason they don't kind of put all their money into race sleds and forgot about the consumers. And there are different rumors what happened, like some of the money they got from development on other parts of boat engines and stuff like that. They were taking money here and there, and they just weren't making it.
Yeah. And speaking of Mercury, Rob the oil guy says he's got a 76 Yamaha SRX.
Don't ever sell it.
Bring it to the track. Let's go.
Oh, you know what Rob the oil guy is saying is that's the sled he's going to let me race next year.
Oh,
well, there you go.
That's what he's saying.
Well, you'll be able to race against Ryan.
There you go.
He's a gentleman racer.
Mm-hmm.
So next I have there's another picture of a sled, which is the Polaris RXL that's coming up. And that was the next one that's some more of the Snow Pro. It's the one that looks like that one there. That was the next big turning point in snowmobile racing in 77, when Polaris came out with the independent suspension, and that changed the way things were doing. When they came out with that, they were ahead of everybody else, and they dominated for the full year.
In fact, halfway through that season, you'll see the other manufacturers try to build IFS sleds. There's a big piece of aluminum and these trailing arms sticking out because they were trying to catch up halfway through the season, but they just couldn't.
Yeah. And I think this one, Al, is for you. Lori Thompson says, will you speak to how Skidoo is superior to Polaris?
You got to love it when your wife doesn't even back your choice of snowmobile.
Support your campaign. From the next room.
I think that's probably the only reason she's listening to, just so she could get that jab in.
Yeah, it could be.
If I may, there's something interesting in this picture about if you're looking at those sleds, the IFS, and if you look at magazines back in the time, they said things like IFS is great for oval racing, but you'll never see it on a consumer sled. liquid cooling is nice for the racetrack, but it's too cumbersome and heavy. You'll never see it on a consumer sled. It's interesting how people said you'll never see this on the consumer sleds, but that technology on those sleds, liquid cooling, IFS, by 1981, 82, that was changing the industry for consumers. But originally they said fine for the racetrack, but you'll never see it on a consumer sled.
Yeah.
Wow.
The only problem is with that, it also kind of led to the demise of racing from factories because everything started getting so much more in travel. Like Leaf Springs, you only had so much travel, so you could develop on the racetrack and it would be on the trail next year. Well, it got to a point where the consumers were wanting a lot more travel in their suspensions, and it just didn't work for racing anymore.
And Al's 100% right there too, because in 75, 76, stuff like the TNT RVs, the shirt behind me, the Polaris TXs, the Yamaha GPXs and stuff, you were looking at the same sled that you're basically buying, is a race sled, but you're buying basically that same sled for the consumer market. Once these came out, you couldn't take these on a trail. You couldn't go through snow drifts. So at this point, suddenly the ice racing was so fine that it was it became distant from what the consumers could buy in a sled. You would never, a race sled was completely different than a consumer sled. The two went their own different ways. And in fact, that's why you saw cross-country racing being influential, like cross-country RVs, the John Deere Liquidator, Polaris TXLs, because they were now taking race sleds in the cross-country circuit that people could still relate to. Whereas the ice oval, although it's super exciting, it became unique, almost like an Indy car.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. Was snowcross a big thing at that time? Like when was that another competitor to the race budgets that teams had?
Not until like time. 83, 84, 85. That's when snowcross started to take over. They actually ran the same circuit. OSRF was running ice ovals and snowcross, and a year or two later, CSRA came along. They developed their own racetrack and went their own way. But originally, they did run together.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Interesting.
I didn't know that you were that smart, Phil, that knew all that history of the racing. I thought you were just the guy in an elf suit, just So
now this picture here, this is the next new wave of snowmobile racing, and this is the twin track skidoos that just really developed how you could do speed around the track. And these things were, I think they had 250s, 340s, and 440s, or did they have a 440 in them? But like, you look at that, it looks like a big heavy thing.
Yeah,
but they could fly.
Did they just take basically an elite or an Elan groomer and basically modify it, or did they build a twin track by custom here?
This is
totally custom.
There's this wizard at BRP, Gaetan Duval, who developed this sled. It's an amazing piece of machinery. Everything from the suspension, twin tracks. Like you'll see the seat. The driver sat on the left track, and the right track is beside him. So it was complete innovation in every way.
It's very cool. I love the pipe sticking out.
Chain case right in the center, and then I assume that's the tank that's just off to the right of the seat is to cool the slides down, or is that actually just where they've relocated the fuel so it's center of gravity reasons?
I'm not sure on that year if that was fuel or if that was lube. It looks like fuel because lube doesn't look that usually there's more square.
Look, they've even made a cutout for the suspension to go through the tank as well.
Yeah,
and I assume that's the fuel tank to lower and move the center of gravity probably of the machine.
And the twin trackers changed a lot over the years. When you actually look at them side by side, the trailing arms that they had with the AFS arms sort of in the front, the radiator moved from low in the front into the back up to the front. You'll actually see the rads, like there's a lot of stuff kept changing in the 20 years that they raced them. Mm-hmm. And and those 340s ramped about 10.5. The tacks were straight up and down, 10.5. Loud.
Just leave that there. You had mentioned earlier about laying the chain case down. Are you just talking about tilting them forward?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
so
what this one here is, very forward.
Mm-hmm. And this is, by this time, it was only Skidoo was left in the racing world. So everybody was pretty much running the twin trackers, and the only difference was the way you painted them.
Yeah. What so do you find guys still running these today?
No, nobody makes a rubber track for them, and they've banned the cleated track. So,
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you do see those once in a while at the vintage shows and Toronto show, you know, would have them on display and that kind of thing. And just now I have a brand new appreciation for how rare these things are.
yeah.
Well, especially something that was purpose built for racing. It would have just, you know,
Yeah.
when the last time it was crashed and no one bothered to fix it would have been the last time it ever saw snow. So
I was quite surprised they lasted for as long as they did, because I couldn't see Skidoo making any money off them. But
no.
now this is getting back into the history. This lady, Dorothy Mercer, she was one of the first females in racing, and she did very well in oval and in cross country for Polaris. So that was kind of the start of ladies getting into snowmobile racing.
They just put her in the Hall of Fame, did they not? 2 years ago? Yeah. Mike LaPerriere.
Probably should have been sooner.
Yeah. He talked about her in the Hall of Fame. Pretty amazing. And amazing lady, did all the work herself and was a hell of a racer too. That's crazy.
Yep. Now we're going to another lady, Sabrina Blanchett. This is one of Howard's. He totally built that sled. That's the one I was talking about. And she is probably one of the best, if not the best driver right now.
Right on.
She gets some criticism and the fact that she's smaller and that's why she's faster. But when you're doing, and I
stop drinking beer then.
Yeah.
And hot dogs.
Yeah, I talked to Howard.
Yeah. Stop cramming dogs between heats, and then you can keep up.
But she does around 102 miles an hour down the straightaways and about 8 miles an hour around the corners.
Wow. No fear. That's the best part.
She has the flying ponytail that goes out behind her.
Oh, that's very cool. And you know what? Here you can see a good shot of the handlebar. It would be her right is bent down and the left. I've driven a sled like that, but it was bent from being rolled. It wasn't by purpose. But no, that's cool. Yeah.
She also races cars through the summer, so she's a year-round racer.
Yeah.
Right on.
She's dedicated for sure. She's won Eagle, I believe, twice in the last 4 or 5 years.
And that's what that one's from, is the World Championship.
And what size engine is in that machine?
That'll be a 440.
Yeah, 100 miles an hour in the straightaways.
440 super modified vintage. So that's a clone.
Wow.
Yeah. And this year they're having the fastest snowmobile competition out in the Maritimes. And she set the record last year at 103, I think it was. So they're seeing who can beat her this year if they can.
Good luck.
And I know Howard's done some more work to the motors probably. So
Duane, talk about her skis. They're really funky looking. Like it's a ski, but the tip is actually the hoop.
That's Howard's creation, literally. He designed and built. Yeah, he designs and builds those skis. Those are his. That's his patent.
Yeah. And so, he just follows the rules and takes it right to the limit. And anytime he builds something like that, he always goes through the IRS to make sure it's legal.
Yeah. So there's different brands that are out there, like Derby, DERBY is a brand, and they, most racers use that brand. But like I say, Howard literally upped the ante and designed his own ski, and it's been very effective, obviously.
Yeah,
like phenomenal, very lightweight, and just the pure design of it is unbelievable.
Yeah. So this isn't to throw any shade on her talent as a racer, but Duane, what would a sled like this cost to build?
Oh, there's been rumors that's like it would be well north of 20 grand. Let's put it that way.
It's still less than a new sled off the showroom. So
Yeah, it sounds expensive, but
yeah, I was
look at what they're
expecting.
paying for new snowmobiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit more than that, actually.
Well, like I say, well north, so it
Yeah.
possibly
Well,
be.
that's that one.
I don't know for a fact, so I don't like to just blurt numbers out.
Yeah.
But like 30 grand might be very realistic. So,
I
but
When you
mean,
start getting into the champ sleds, they get up to that price.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mike
So the
Leeds has 30 grand into his CR500 engine.
And it's not even running yet.
and yeah, the crazy thing is,
Big
of
money.
course, and it's hand built. You can't buy this stuff on the
No, it's priceless for sure.
yeah. 100%.
Very cool.
Yeah,
and
and like
it-
Howard,
by
he
the
makes
way,
his own
just
pipes
to-
and everything.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Howard builds his own hydroformed race pipes as well. It's phenomenal. And tried and true. Lots of people have ran them over the years, and like I say, tried and true.
Now, if Rob the oil guy is listening, is that the 10-year-old girl that beats everybody?
Well, she's not 10 anymore.
He asked if you were going to talk about that. What's that?
She's not 10 anymore, but
No. And he said,
she
talk about
started
the
right from.
No, he said, do you have any of the racers
junior, 5
like
or
the
6 years old?
10-year-old girl that beats
Yeah.
everybody, or the 13-year-old kid that built his own snowmobile?
And it's funny, her grandfather, he used to race for Skidoo Factory a long time ago.
Yeah. Wild. It comes by honestly then.
Yeah,
So this is a shot of a couple Thunderjets. The left sled is a 73 single 300 piloted by Russ Buchanan, and the 72 Thunderjet on the right is my nephew Tyler. That was up in Cochrane. It was an awesome race, right down to the wire. That one was, but two great sleds. They were really flying.
I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it very well on that screen, Dad, but look, it's actually got a plexiglass or box around to help direct air into the engine.
Help
That's
keep the air on the engine. That's funny.
yeah.
Scoop it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
something you
Russ
guys
is a
should maybe
little
do.
thing
Look
each
for a
racer does.
ride this year. Go up to Cochrane for some trail riding and drop in and see the races.
Yeah, that's
Phenomenal
cool.
race. Phenomenal
Yeah.
race.
I love this polar bear.
I just want to get a
thing.
shot at this polar bear.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Those
It's
guys
unique.
are coming out for the Polar Bear Cup, which is their feature race.
Yeah. Love it.
Now this is a lineup of champ sleds, the ones that'll do 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Yeah, so
And-
there's a Gen 5 Skidoo
There's
in
a
there,
fun,
Red
and
Bull.
like a slightly newer.
Well,
like
it looks like a
Cat
Gen
is that I
5,
look
but it's
like,
just
too.
got the hood style.
Yeah.
That's oh geez, what's Gunnar Stern? He's sponsored by Red Bull and Skidoo.
Right on.
So he's always up right in the top. The one the far side of him is a sled sponsored by the Walls, and the Wall brothers. They do a lot of the parts for racing sleds, and they're always right up at the top. You got Weatheralls in there in the blue one, and both blue I think are both Weatherall sleds, and they're from Ontario.
What kind of prize purses are there for winning when you got someone like Red Bull in the game? Like, there must be big money in it, is there?
Well, these guys, they'll probably race. This is at Eganville. I'm not sure what their pots are, but they'll probably be 10,000 a day for what they're racing for.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And same when they go out to to Woodstock. They're offering a lot of money, and they have a race at Valcourt every year, and they offer good money as well.
Nice. Well, that's good that there's good purses in it too, because that'll keep the sport alive, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is Gunnar Stern again. He won it that year.
It's good to see brands like Skidoo and Red Bull wanting to be involved with the sport too. It'll help give exposure to it, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they came up with another class, and it's called F3. And what they're doing is they're using the snowcross sleds, but it is nobody likes riding them. They're heavy. They don't go around corners well. But they tried doing that in order to get factory involvement in it. But it's a tough sled.
Mm-hmm. If you had an old RV or something and you wanted to you wanted to start doing oval racing, whatever it is, the old vintage sled, is there guys out there? I'm sure there's guys that you could talk to say, hey, what do I got to do to make this work? How do I lower it? And what do you recommend? Like, is it a Facebook group? Is it showing up at the races?
There are a few Facebook groups. Like, we have a Facebook group for OSOR, and like, we got 16,000 members. So depending on where you are, you can always find somebody through that. You can message me. I can get you in touch with somebody that can help you build one. There's lots of people out there, and like I said, come out to a race and talk to any of the racers. They'd be more than willing to help you.
Very cool. Vet Fan 67 says, is there a way to make a small fortune?
There is a way.
There is a way. That's
start out with a large fortune.
Yeah, there's a way to make a small fortune race, and the key is to start with a large fortune. That wasn't the one I wanted to click. Sorry. He put Trike Kid 84 says, do you run an EGT gauge? How do you know what the safe temperature is?
So a lot of them.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, like, I run them on my sleds, and they have literally there's so much technology in these gauges, as this gentleman probably knows, and it's got lap recall. You can literally replay your whole race, and you'll see where you're making power and where you're losing it, and yada 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 yada. Like, it's pretty amazing stuff, the EGT gauges.
If those were my gauges, it would come up with things like, you suck, give up, kid. Go back to the trailer.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Phil. Come on.
No, Phil runs
for us.
No, Phil runs a Skidoo, Al, so his gauge would be blank. It would be cutting out halfway through the race. It would say no device connected, and it say, do you want to reroute the whole time?
Yeah. He talked about passing his sled. Well, that's because he was running. But as far as the temperature, unfortunately, I can't help the guy with that. But I know everybody is very, especially with the free airs, they're pumping out a lot of horsepower, but you got to be careful. And that's why they don't run those for a lot of laps, like 10 laps, and you're starting to see them slow down a bit because they're getting a little too warm. This is just a poster for the Polar Bear Cup for this year, March 14th and 15th.
Yeah, 2026.
Phenomenal race.
And then the Bunesher Cup, 50 years. They've actually been in it more than 50 years. Oh.
And what's Bunesher? Is that a person's name?
No, that's the valley and a river that's over there. That's in Eganville.
So
right on.
There?
Yep.
There's a good shot of it. It's a phenomenal track. It's large.
Yeah, nice.
Look at all the trailers.
Yeah, look at all the trailers lined up. Like, how many racers do you get coming out on a day? Like, all classes?
At that one last year, we had 137. And like those champ sleds that we were showing you, there's a lot of those guys are coming up from the States, Wisconsin and stuff. Now, they started in when the heck was it? 1974. And that was on a river. And then they had 2 years at the Legion. And then they bought the property where it is right now and started that one 50 years ago.
I don't think that's the end.
Yeah, Uncle Buck says he's wanted to go there for years to watch the races. That's cool. Yeah.
To the title card.
Very,
Well,
very.
About this year, because it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, right on. Is it an
It's
anniversary?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50th
50th.
anniversary.
And we're going to get snow, more snow than ever. Ice conditions would be perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's according to my wife. We've had more acorns on our yard than ever, and that's supposed to be an old fart saying on how much snow we're going to get.
It's true. It's true. There's all kinds of things like that, but no, that's quite the insight on racing and everything like that. If anyone's got any more questions in the chat, you mentioned your Facebook group. Is that the best place to follow along with your shenanigans?
Yep, there is, and
we also have the classifieds. The OSOR has a classifieds site as well. So I mean, if somebody's looking to buy a sled or one that's partially built or parts to build a sled, that can all be obtained through the OSOR too, like information and so on and so forth.
If you have any questions, just throw it up on the page as well. There's lots of people out there that can help with that as well.
That will pipe up and help out 100%. We're all, we're wanting to build the sport, and that's how you do it. Just get it out to the masses. And everybody's welcome from top to bottom, racers, volunteers, spectators.
Sounds like a good group of people, and they're all got the same passion and focus. That I love sports like that.
Definitely 100%. Like I was saying, like all my experiences have been phenomenal as far as just the people and the passion. And like I say, when everybody's got this common thread, it's a no-brainer. It's very family oriented. And so, if children are welcome, their parents, families, as a whole. So it's just, it's a great sport. It's a phenomenal sport. And we're just trying to get it out to the masses and introduce people to it that aren't that familiar or get reintroduced to it, back into it.
Very cool. Hopefully I've moved the needle a bit tonight, bringing you guys to our group, and I wish you all the best of luck in the races. And I'll definitely try and get out to see something this winter as well. It's and now that I've got the schedule and we can try and get out there and check it all out. I want to hear Duane's sled that he showed me at the show fire up.
Well, there'll be lots like that, and it's quite the sound and show when they start going around the track.
You can't go wrong. You absolutely can't go wrong. Like I say, there's absolutely nothing not cool about vintage ice oval from top to bottom. So
it doesn't take too long to get the itch as soon as you watch it. Like it didn't take Duane long. He hadn't been into racing, and he watched one, and then he fell in love right away. And then he didn't start from the bottom. He started from the top buying a 440 mod. So he does things a little differently.
Well, that's the thing. I think the cost of getting into it's fairly good if you can just go and run a stock sled, just if you want to get in there for fun, right?
100%.
And that'll get you hooked. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean. On whatever scale that you want to get involved, entry level and mid level or whatever. I did trail riding prior to racing, and I watched it as a young kid. And so then when I literally the race that Al spoke of at Minden in the 217, that was my first exposure to reintroduced to it. And immediately 3 months later, I had my Thunderjet, and then it spawned from there. And then my family all got involved, reintroduced to it, and so on and so forth. My brother included. He's heavily involved with us, modifying his grandchildren's sleds and his sons, and just constantly working and being innovative in his own right. And like I said, everybody. Whatever, as we were discussing, everybody has their brand, right? And you can run with it. They've got all different CCs, sizes in their brand, and you just run with it and build what you want, and entry level right up through.
Yeah.
And
Well, and is it like, and Phil can probably relate to this better because he does both the motocross and the snowmobiling, but where do you stay? Is it like a vintage moto event where everybody's camping on site, or are they all staying at the same hotel? Like there must be a good camaraderie and party around the
for sure. Event. For sure there is. And while lots of people do have heaters, as Al was saying, diesel heaters in their trailers. And so lots of people will stay at the track. Some prefer to do the motel, what have you. And for the most part, or Airbnbs, which work fine. Like I said, the majority of us get along phenomenal. So a bunch will gang together and rent a Airbnb. And, like Valcourt is an example where the track is somewhat secluded. So Airbnbs are a great option. Like there's not a lot of motels around the Valcourt track. And so, like I say, a bunch of families, racers will arrange to get together and rent a spot. And hopefully you're within a half an hour of the track and so on and so forth.
Yeah. What class can a Safari 377 run in?
As long as it's leaf spring, it can run in, it's 400 fan.
Yeah, there you go.
So they don't really have much of a chance.
No.
It wouldn't be recommended, but hey, you can try.
And getting back to the tracks, Pinestone is a great one because you're talking about the camaraderie. Well, everything is right there. Like the track's right on the lake out in front of the place, and everybody stays at the hotel there. So it's always a good time. And everybody tells lies about how well they did at the last race.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, though.
Yep.
And we have 2 races in February scheduled for there. So
right on.
At Pinestone, and it's somewhat central, so it's easy to get to. And like Al was saying, accommodations are there as well for the weekend. So
very cool. Rob the Oil Guy says, great show again. Chris Watson says, great show. Have a great race season. He wishes you folks.
Oh, thank you.
Stay safe. Rob the Oil Guy says, Gary needs a ride. And did you get the championship?
Nice. Once.
Nice.
Once and vintage single cylinder bogey once.
I can tell you carry that around. It's got all the folds from where you fold it out and put it in your wallet.
I just go down to the bus station, the train station. I just say people get their pictures with me. Yeah.
He didn't tell you that there was no second place.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, now the truth is coming out.
But what's interesting about that? What's interesting about that, and Duane was just talking about like all the different classes, is that you're asking how to get into it. You don't have to look and say, "Oh, if I get into it, I'm going to buy a Formula 500." Racing single cylinder around the Eagleville track is it's a workout. And when you're thinking, okay, it's only a 335 bogey skidoo, but when there's 2 or 3 people all around you, all doing exactly the same speed, you'd be surprised how competitive you suddenly feel. And it's great camaraderie. And Duane, you see that all the time at the track. It doesn't matter what class you're in. Everybody's racing competitively and having a great time. So it doesn't matter if you think, well, I don't know if I want to go and spend that much money if I don't like. Start off at the beginners, the single cylinder racing and the 250. It's great fun.
100%. 100%.
You realize fast you cannot will the sled to go that extra 0.1 mile an hour faster than the buddy, right?
Well, here's the thing I learned at Eagleville racing single cylinder. I'm going out there and I'm thinking, I've been riding sleds all the time. I'm coming in and think I'm up on one ski and I'm thinking, I'm right on the edge here. And some guy pulls around and passes me out the side. I'm thinking, how is he doing that? I go to turn 3 and all I see is plastic and him going through the corners. Like, that was the limit right there. That was the limit.
Mm-hmm. But then if you look at the single cylinder class, that one picture that had Duane and Carl in it. Carl also
no, that's Tyler. That's Tyler.
No, you.
No,
you and
no.
Carl.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Russ and Tyler.
Oh,
sorry.
Jesus.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you said single. You said single cylinder.
Yeah. Well, Carl also races Cat Shack's 292 Yamaha, and he loves it. He just goes out and it doesn't matter. He's on the fastest sled, and then he's on sort of the slowest sled. And he actually last year he podiumed down in
Eagle River.
and that's the largest race going. And
Yeah, it's famous.
the
Like,
happiest.
yeah, that one there everybody talks about.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it's a slower class, but that's a fast sled in that slower class.
Yeah,
for sure.
but it's just he enjoys it just as much as he does his fast one.
100%. He rides everything like he's on fire.
Yeah. And he gets that extra 0.1 of a mile an hour out of the thing.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like Formula One. You got Jordan and you got Benetton racing right beside each other. You know, they don't care. They're having.
Yeah,
Exactly, right?
I love it. Mike Leet says, great show. Thanks for sharing. Lepoinski 800R says, thanks, everyone. It was a fun show. Have a great night. Great job, Gary and Drew. And cheers, boys.
Thank you.
Uncle Buck says, great show. Again, look at that Rupp in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that nice? We could race that one.
Another vintage guy.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's a vintage and on a vintage with a brand new sled, a 9R. Cats rule, dues drool is what J Darren 1328 says. And Ron Cuskey says, thanks for another great and informative show, everyone. And so that was awesome. I really appreciate you guys taking the time tonight. What did I tell you, Al? He didn't think we'd be able to go for a half an hour. He didn't have enough content.
Oh, I knew we'd be good because I had Darren and or Duane and Phil here. Like those
Phil
guys
didn't
could
even get to
for
talk
hours.
tonight. We're gonna have to have Phil on by himself some night. He didn't.
We click the go live button and we just sit back. Let the comments do the rest.
Yeah.
The sad part, that's actually what could happen. I could just start talking. You know, 1975, the 245 RVE came out. Then in 76, they brought out the 340. 77, they changed the chassis. So it's like, it's just.
Maybe we should.
Phil lives down the river from me, and he comes up, and you try having a conversation, and you start a different conversation, and you don't get 5 words out, and it's back to snowmobile racing, and that's the way Phil runs.
But we don't have a problem. We don't have a problem with that whatsoever.
No, that's why you get straight. That's why you straight pipe the sled so it drowns it out.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I'll take credit that I'm the fastest, shortest speaker at the driver's meeting because I just want to get racing. I don't want to. It's like, everybody good? Let's go. Just get out there. Let's go.
We'll be timing you this year, Phil.
That's awesome. No, thank you guys.
Phil's a major asset for sure to have. Period.
Oh, I bet. I
called other things.
Yeah. You didn't need the ET on there? Is that what you're saying?
No. I've been called a pain in the ass before. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, me too. No, I really appreciate the time tonight. That was interesting stuff, man.
Well, that's great. I'm very happy you had us on, and we appreciate the exposure.
Hugely appreciate that.
Yeah. And I can't say enough if anybody's at these shows, like the Toronto show is where I ran into Duane, and they're tucked in the corner, and you might not know exactly what they're about. Drew and I kind of went and struck up a conversation, and when he opens up the hood on one of these machines, you gotta take that in, because they may look like an old vintage snow jet or, hunk of junk, and maybe you're only into new stuff, but when you open up that hood, it rivals anything that any new manufacturer is making today.
Yeah. Well, you start off with, you can see the motor in them.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the both spark plugs, right? Mm-hmm. But it's pretty crazy. But yeah, a lot of love coming in right now from the chat.
And to add to that, like you say, the visual, but there's nothing that replaces hearing these things go. So we need all of your fan base to come on out and watch a race. And if they're available, please come on out. I guarantee you that you will enjoy watching the Vintage Ice Oval. It's as simple as that. And like I say, it's a great experience top to bottom. Like I said, you can come and visit in the pits, talk to the racers, talk to the families, watch the races, the vending, all just everything as a whole is just a great experience. And you're outside getting fresh air. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool because we've been to snowcross races and you don't see the whole race. And with the oval race, you would see the entire race.
100%.
So,
Yes.
you know what I
And
mean?
You know
Like,
the difference.
yeah.
What we call snow cross is slow cross. You actually
Mm-hmm.
get some speed on these things.
Yeah,
Well,
that's wild.
And with some of these races, like Pine Stone, there's literally an elevated area by the
Up on the deck.
yeah, exactly, where it's elevated. You can get a great vantage point. Eganville is elevated where the spectators stand. The majority of them do, so you get a great vantage point of the track and the races. So, fortunately, a lot of them are geared for that, which is great.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, keep up the good work, guys. That's awesome. I'm going to roll the credits, and I thank you again. And keep me in the loop. And if you've got races before the races come up, shoot me a message, Al, and I'll just announce it on the show. And
Yeah, sure.
And away we go. Yeah, and
that'll
see
be
if we can
great.
see if we can
Hey,
get the
we got
brat
one
pack
fan.
out.
We got
Get the
one guy
brat-
coming out to watch. I see somebody's definitely going to Pine Stone.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, look these guys up and make sure you tell them the brat pack sent in, and away you go. But no, that's awesome. Great show. I had a fun time, and now I'm going to be scouring Marketplace for hours tonight.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you very
guys.
much. We appreciate it much.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Thanks
Have a
so
good
much for
one.
having
Thank
us.
you.
Appreciate it.
No, thank
Bye
you,
now.
Phil. Pleasure's ours. Yeah.
It's a journey for